Right, legends, I clicked the Streamer Runiente button. We are live and ready to go, guys. We're going to get into this straight into the charts, actually, today. No music, no fanning around. I'm going to get it back to what it used to be. We're going to bring this back to discipline. These videos are going to be disciplined, legends, okay? I'm going to start with short term, go medium term, and then go long term. I'm going to go through all the scenarios. So I actually drew this morning. This is the scapegoat scenario. If we get resistance on the high, we're going to go through everything in this video, legends. We're going to go through all the things I always look at, CBBI, all the way through to what the dealers are doing, for instance, and we're going to look at what's happening with the treasuries and even the watch market. I actually have been going into the watch market quite a lot recently, haven't I, guys? You know that already. And the trading bot, of course, the old trading bot Aruniente. So yeah, guys, we're going to get into the charts, and then I'm going to do short-term, medium-term, long-term, and do the structure like that, because I do believe that that's the way we should do Mondays, structure it correctly, and make sure everyone's getting exactly the information they need for the week for Bitcoin, and we'll go into traditional markets and indices, equities. We'll go through the whole thing. Russell will look at the market in general, the whole market in general, Aruniente. God, I say that a lot at the moment. So, guys, yeah, this is a chart I posted on Twitter. This is basically, there's two scenarios. This is the scenario I'm talking about where there's a good risk to reward long here. So there was a long this morning. That's actually playing out right now. I think you can probably see behind this the price of Bitcoin is actually moving up, which is good. So I said good risk to reward trade here, guys. Buying support. You can see it's resistance turns support. So it's an SR level, guys. Here is a very nice SR level. And you've bounced off it to the nail, actually, to the dollar. And you can see, guys, if we don't manage to get this, and we actually see resistance here, your stop loss goes below the SR level, and you could potentially look for a short at the lower high or even straight into resistance, depending on how you get there. But this is my Twitter, guys. Go over here. I'll do a competition on this Twitter as well. All we got to do is like, retweet, and comment on these tweets. Do it in this video as well. You have a chance of winning an MDX Algo membership. You can see here. Come and like it, retweet, comment on it, and somebody will win with a good explanation an MDX Algo membership, okay? And that's the company which I have built with my blood, sweat, and tears over many, many years. And you guys actually will quickly look at the long-to-short ratio quickly right now, just before we get into this. Let's have a look where we are on long-to-short. If it loads, sire, the APIs today. Oh my God, please help. Yeah, so 60% long at this point. So it's not too staggered on either side of the books at the moment. Obviously, open interest is extremely high, even though we had like a fucking 500 mil wiped out on that dump. So open interest has been growing massively, but 60-40, not really giving much of an edge there in terms of saying, yeah, we're too staggered on either side. The bot did actually sell as well. So you can see here, guys, the MDX Trading Bot, we did get the sell signal. So this is a 4.9% winning trade here. And I do think actually this will probably go, because we had a winning trade, the next one likely to be a sell, to be a losing trade. So you can actually counter trade that, guys, by looking at the advanced strategy on mdxalgo.com. It's in the pinned message. Use my trading bot, guys. This is the advanced strategy to use. So, guys, we do have a sell signal on the bot, which is, you know, again, another confluent factor for a 62% chance for this to rally. If it's a sell signal, it's a counter trading strategy which you can use because it's designed for swing. So this is the scenario which I do think has the highest probability. If we do come into this area here and we don't manage to get above it, there could be a lower high scenario into here. Your stop loss needs to be under here, guys, for this potential trade, which is playing out right now. Like I said on Twitter, it's a good RR long here at SR, and this is RS, but SR means support resistance. You see it's resistance turns support. And if we do get that, guys, we come back down to this level, your stop loss is here. You might be able to get into a short with a lower high, and if it breaks this, guys, you're going to flush all the way down straight to this level here. Actually, you'll probably go lower than where this higher low is. You'll probably come into this, another bounce, and if it wants to continue and lose that, then we have a significant move coming on our hands, guys, potentially all the way down to $42,000 is probably going to be where it's going to end up going. But at this point, guys, nice little long trade here, guys, going up. And like I said, I'm going to do the short-term, medium-term, long-term. And we'll probably come into the Stuba fibs on the high side of this. This is where it will likely stop. Yes, if we do get a push right up into the all-time high, fine. But you can see the 7.8. So this is actually 886 and the 786 retracements here. So if you draw a Fibonacci from there to there, you extend it out, you actually get to these levels here. And it's actually called the Stuba fibs. Someone in our community, let me bring up the old Discord server. Someone in our community who is extremely popular. This is actually Baroness, but let me find Stu for you. I don't know when the last time he posted was. But Stu in our community absolutely destroys the Stuba Fib calls. I'll actually bring up some charts in a minute in the VIP group of what he's been talking about. I think he's actually in here now blasting off some freaking some scenarios with the Stuba fibs. But just to give you an idea, instead of doing the 618 and 786, that pocket zone for retracements or reversals, which is historically quite good on traditional markets, what he does is he goes to the 786 and the 886, and actually you do see a lot of time this get pushed into before you get major resistance. And then you do have some sort of trend line coming up here if we continue up higher, and then if it's a break of trend, then you know that potentially we're going to come lower. But as of right now, guys, this is a very simple way to look at the market. And for Bitcoin, obviously, this is playing textbook. The bulls take the stairs, the bears jump out the window. You can see it's essentially taking the stairs and finding support on all of its prior levels. Okay, so really, really nice stuff here, guys. And I do think this is the most probable scenario we get. There was a nice short, guys, coming to the 618. I was talking about that on our prior videos, and I did a whole fucking video and stream about this specific trade, which we're getting right now, into the 618 back down. That has, in my opinion, already played out, actually, with this move back. You can see that this move here, coming up into the 618, that's the move back we've already got. But obviously coming into this area of resistance as support is a great SR, and that's a trade to be made, and that's why I stated it on Twitter earlier today, okay? That trade. And that's played out for you guys very well if you managed to get in on the wicks. Probably looking at around, 5%. So it's great if you put 100K down, $5,000 profit, okay? So, yeah, this would be the next win to look for. There might be a short coming into this resistance because you might not get above it. But overall, guys, it's kind of painting a picture that we're uptrending on the lower time frames. Obviously, on the higher time frames, we might be starting a downtrend, but we'll go into the medium and long term in a second. Let's look at the stock heat map. Yeah, so the stock market is okay as well, which is a good sign for potentially upside moves on crypto and cryptocurrency markets, etc. The economic calendar is looking quite filled. We just put out our newsletter, legends, so you can get the newsletter on this site. You can actually get the newsletter for free every single Monday. That's in the live chat. Go there, sign up, and you can get all the news you fucking want. It essentially is a newsletter and what it's called. So you can get that, guys, on that website just posted in the chat. And guys, in the chat right now, tell me if everything's working nice, so you can hear me clearly or anything like that. And tell me what you're trading right now on this lovely Monday. This goddamn beautiful Monday. It's not bloody today. We're going up in price, Aruniente, from last week. In the live chat right now, tell me what you're trading, okay? And I'll be interested to see what you guys are looking at the minute. So, guys, that's the short-term analysis here. Really, that's what I think is going to happen. But there could be resistance at resistance once or twice. Just depends on if we carry on some sort of ascending formation. You can draw some trend lines on this, but I would say it's a little bit wishy-washy. I'd say this is the level to get above, guys, for continuation. Likely see that resistance as support. Again, very similar to this area here. And if we do break below, so we come up into this, we break down, get a lower high here, and then we lose this level where your stop loss should be. That's going to be the quick move coming into this, guys, and you'll actually probably see the price move quite quickly down, and that actually could be the beginning of a next bigger move. And on the daily time frame, legends, like, we have to be completely clear here, and this is all look a little bit scruffy. I'll leave it on for now because I'll just bring up another chart actually to make it even clearer. So really, legends, what you're looking at here, and guys, I want to show you the reactive settings on the MDX reactive wave master indicator. This is with these yellow dots, guys. Yo, this is some crazy shindigs happening. I actually built this indicator multiple years ago, but I moved on to another indicator and just kind of left this one in the dust, even though I built it specifically for a very, very good strategy. I'm going to tell you about this indicator in a second. I completely forgot that I built it, and I've come back to it and actually resurfaced it and put some added touches onto it, and yo, this thing's a fucking beast in the way of articulating in terms of it's using volatility and bands with an RSI. So it's really, really nice. So guys, look, the chart here is very, very obvious in terms of what's happening, okay? We're in a range-bound market, but it's downtrending within the range. It's in the middle here of the range, okay? So if you put the node onto this, you're probably going to see it coming in. Nice, okay? We're kind of coming up to it. So the volume is above us, which is a good sign for higher price action. But you can see, guys, that you can't not see what's happening here, and this is a downtrending market, okay? You have lower highs and lower lows on Bitcoin right now. That does mean that the priority would be to come and make a higher low first before the medium term continuing. On the short term, like I've said, the bulls are taking the stairs and the bears jump out the window. That's fine. It can go a little bit higher. It wouldn't surprise me to see it arc up to around here. And that would be a Fibonacci. You'll see it in the Stuba fibs. You can actually see that's pretty much bang on. It wouldn't surprise me to see Bitcoin come up a little bit more on this and then see the pullback. So definitely keep that node there, guys. It's a magnet, okay? The liquidity pockets are the magnets for multiple participants in multiple price markets. Actually, that's the wrong way of saying it. The node is a magnet to multiple participants within a market, okay? So that's what you're looking for coming into there. Wouldn't surprise me in any fucking way, okay? So, but then there would, you know, very likely before we break the all-time high, let's say that we are destined to continue higher on this, you are looking for a higher low before. And guys, you're gonna flip back up. Let me just turn my phone off. Sorry, I'm getting loads of messages. You probably can't hear it because I've got my microphone set. But the devil level, guys, is obviously extremely important. This is a little bit messy. I'll fix this in a second. But this level here, guys, would be $56,500. Okay, let me whip back this chart. This level here, leggies, it would not surprise me to see this hold up, and then actually that being the higher low for this to continue up. Okay, like I said, the medium term. I've said on the short term what I think is going to happen. But on the medium term, guys, it's unlikely that this is going to V recovery and continue. It'll likely have a higher low at some point, and it wouldn't surprise me to come into that 56K region around here. It'll probably be a pocket because I'm looking at two different exchanges right now. This is actually I'm looking at Bybit, and this is Binance. Okay, so different exchanges, but it's good to look at multiple different exchanges with price action because all exchanges have different price discovery. Okay, we already tagged into this. But around that 56K region, guys, it's going to be potentially where this finds a higher low. And that's a bullish scenario for the medium term. Because if we do find a higher low, guess what? This trend, this downtrend we're in here, and this is a downward sloping channel, you could actually call it. I wouldn't even call it a down. It's essentially a range-bound move. It's a downtrending range in such, which you would call a channel. And I'd say that, yeah, if we keep making lower lows and lower highs here, strictly speaking, the priority is that you want to see a higher low before you break the high, okay? Because that's the change of structure. Doesn't mean we can't just jet to the moon. That can happen, obviously, but I'm just saying the probability is not in the camp of that. It's more likely if you're making lower highs and lower lows, you're going to get that higher low at some point, which will then make the higher high, and then you can see the springboard being continuation of price. Because obviously, guys, we know springboards. We need springboards. We have to have buyers and sellers. It's an equilibrium. It's like a pulsing motion of energy. When people buy things that go up, they are weaker hands than people that buy things that go down. And then when people buy things that go down, they are stronger fucking hands for the next move higher. So that's the medium term, guys. The levels really to watch out for if I bring up my other chart, it's obviously going to be that 52K region. I've been saying this for many, many months. This is the level. If you lose, we're going to 48 and 42. And I could actually say on the medium term time frames as well. I'm just going to get rid of that because that's my short term analysis. But very clean chart here, guys. Very nice to look at it in terms of without anything on the screen. I would say that 48, right, guys? We're looking in here, $48,000. Let me get an actual line here for you. And $42,000, which is going to come in around here. Let me get it exactly right for you guys. This is really the region where I would say Bitcoin probably won't go below this region, you know, in this whole entire medium-term time frame. I do think that if we do come into this, it's very likely that the lowest price Bitcoin goes to is 42K. That's coming to this whole consolidation area. It's very likely for one trade here, bounce off it again. If you go to $42,000, guys, I think the probability of getting a bounce trade is extremely high, and I will take that trade at $42,000. If you see the price of Bitcoin coming like this, back down, flush, you know, if it's destined to come lower and wick in, it's going to be a buy for me. And I will essentially put all of my limit orders and buy it with my eyes closed, like I always say. And the trades would be 48 and 42 for those bounces off it, okay? And then you put yourself into a good risk to reward trade. Potentially, if it breaks down and it does continue, then fine, you're covered because you can either stop loss and break even, and then you can actually flip. So that's kind of what you're looking for here, guys. Those two levels on the medium term will be as low as I think it goes. I think the highest probability we get on Bitcoin right now is like what I just stated on the short term. We are actually continuing to look like actually on the short term that it's potentially going to go a little bit higher to around this node area, and then we come down, we make a higher low, and then I do think potentially this will continue from here, looking at some of the higher time frame perspective stuff. And, you know, I'll tell you exactly on very, very high time frames, guys, like what I'm thinking, because the way that you actually draw the SR levels is you take the high. Let me just get rid of everything on this chart, making it nice and clear. So if you actually just want to draw on what you think is going to, you know, the relevant levels are, just go and get a drawing tool and plot on the high prices, the closes, the opens, and the lows. Okay, so open, close are those two ones there, and the low and the high. If you just go and draw all those on this chart, it's very like, well, it will, because I've already done it a million times. it's going to show you where the biggest levels of support and resistance are on the chart on the yearly time frame. So go on this chart, guys. Just do it in your own time. I won't do it now because it's in my training course, mdxalgo.com, whatever. I've got it fully in my trading course. But take the high, take the close, take the open, take the low, draw on all those lines just like this, like a horizontal line, and then you'll be able to see very nicely on your chart where the big logical SR levels are. And guys, you're gonna find levels which come in on this 48k, 42k, all the way down at here. Remember the fucking goddamn $20,000-$30,000 region when we were trying to get above 30k, and then fucking everyone started shorting when we broke out, and then we went to the moon. You remember, guys. So long term, guys. So I've done short term. Now I've done medium term. I'll sit on the short term chart for now because I do want to make sure you guys see this who've just come into the stream. This is the highest probability I do think is going to happen to Bitcoin now, and your stop loss and your invalidation of that is not being able to break the high, and there might be a short at the lower high with a stop loss. Okay, so I've already said this is a good trade setup, guys, if you're on the short term. But on the long term, guys, I don't think Bitcoin has finished. Looking at the CBI. The CBI has not hit 100% yet, or gone to 98 to 100. I don't think the bull market for Bitcoin is over. If the bull market is over for Bitcoin and we actually break 42k, that's another massive sign for me. 42k is a line in the sand in terms of bull market territory. We'll look at the 200-day moving average and all the other kind of stuff. But there's a whole lot of other things. You need higher lows and higher highs. You need to be over a certain amount of moving averages. I would say for longer term time frames, the 200-day moving average is a good barometer of that for Bitcoin. You could look at the 21, 35, 34, and 55 exponential moving averages as well. That's another thing I use. But to make it simple for you, 200-day moving average, higher lows and higher highs on a higher time frame. And also, you got to remember, is the market in terms of in a bull market, are we consistently breaking out? We don't want to... To be in a bull market, you need to have big volume movements from the prior highs. So you need to see it moving forward. Is it above certain levels? So the three parameters, let me get my head straight. Above 42k, above the 200-day moving average, and you need higher lows and higher highs, okay? That's what I would look at. And the CBBI has not hit 8, has not gone to 100 yet. So if it is the top, and we've done the Bitcoin bull market, 42 is the line in the sand with those three parameters, and then I'd say we're not in a bull market, okay? Get my head straight. Trying to make sure you guys understand exactly what the parameters there. The parameters are really important for bull markets. And yeah, so I don't think the bull market is over. That's just the parameters that need to be hit to say that it is over, and then stop loss at below 42k. I look to buy 42. If we come down to it, lose it, retest, stop loss, see on the flippers. And then in terms of the CBI, I don't think it's over yet. We still have an increase of institutional-owned Bitcoin, so ETFs, countries, public companies, private companies, BTC minor companies, DeFi. I don't like the way DeFi is on there, to be honest, but overall, give or take 1% of the actual supply of Bitcoin. 12.4% of all Bitcoin is owned by institutions at this point, which is still growing steadily. Also, if you look at the dealers, let me quickly break this up for you. I don't know if it's changed, all right? I would rather look at the long-short ratio with you because it's 60-40 at least. Let's just see if there's any change with the dealers. So a little bit more short exposure, but they've also been in kind of decreasing long. So they are kind of actually, they've increased spread a little bit. They have actually increased their short exposure a little bit more. And this is a barometer for me to say probably, we've got a little bit more sideways to go. And we're not going to go, like I said, all the way up and then just continue. It's probably going to be up, round, low, higher, low, potentially fanning around. It could be 2 months. And then in terms of, the dealers, let's look at the asset managers. They're probably just increasing longs. They've decreased some longs. This is actually a good sign to say that, yes, okay, if they're beginning to get a little bit fearful about this move continuing up, that's a good sign. And that's why you've seen the dealers increase, because the dealers are essentially market makers. They're liquidity providers for the CME. So if the asset managers reduce their long exposure, the dealers will take the other side of that and increase their short exposure, okay? So not really much. There's not much here, though, guys, just to tell you. Like, the dealers and what they're doing at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange can be super, super valuable information. But at the moment, it's not really that valuable. All you can take from it is say, if the dealers are this short, it's probably not going to be massive expansion tomorrow because it'll probably be a couple of months below the all-time high. Doesn't mean it has to be like that. I'm just saying that the probability over multiple factors says that if they were long right now, it'll be an increased factor of potentially going up higher. But it's not really giving you much information in terms of an edge at this point. You know, some things you look at will give you a better edge at different points. And I would say that this is not really it's not offering up that much. Very similar to long to short ratio right now. It's not really offering up that much. You know, the long to short ratio is good when you're like 70, 80% on each side. Right now, 60-40, there's still fuel on the short side to go higher. Yes, there's slightly more longs, but that could just be people on underwater positions from the top, okay? So, obviously, Bitcoin was fucking at 70K the other day. They could just be hodling for dear life in those longs. What you'll wait for is 70% that side, 70% the other side. Then that can be a confluence factor to say, okay, look, maybe we're over on that move because the majority are usually wrong. And even the fear and greed index, like, you know, I do look at it. I don't use it as much as I used to. Back in the day, it was a pretty well used, you know, known, respected indicator in crypto for a while. Actually, a lot of people would constantly come back to fear and greed. You know, 25 fear, what's that really offering up? You know, more people are long, but it's saying they're fearful. Not really great. So sometimes, guys, you can have a million indicators, but you need to know when to use certain indicators for certain things. Right now, guys, I would strictly stay away from sentiment and potentially what other aggregated data is doing on the CME. And I would stick with the charts and stick with the levels. Yes, in raring bull markets where the price is just going absolutely crazy, the market can do stupid shit for a very long period of time. And, you know, I would say probably go with more sentiment-based stuff, actually. But right now, Leggies, like, you can see on this fucking chart, this is price levels being respected. This is up, resistance, coming back to it later as support. Beautiful trade there. And that's what I said on my channel. On my Twitter, I said, look, there's a good RR trade here. This is the invalidation, but the trade is here, back up. If it can't, this is the invalidation. If it can't get above that, then there's a lower high potential short, and then the stop loss needs to be below this area because your stop loss is your insurance policy just in case it goes like that. Okay, you need a stop loss. Ultimately, on the short term, I think this is probably what we get. The highest probability right now. The bot also did sell, so that does mean to me that it's a 62% chance for now this to go higher. So just with the bot selling, guys, on flat levels, you can see that the win rate of the bot is 38.5%, which actually means it's 61.5% chance that if you get a sell signal on the bot or a buy signal, you have a 61% chance that this will be a wrong trade. So all of these sell signals, obviously that was an incredible short. Well, a sell into cash, which essentially is a short if you're buying back in. That was a great trade there. The thing is, the bots had some incredibly good trades for a very long period of time. And it's been doing very, very well. And the bot is designed for swing moves. So we are going to come to a drawdown period because the win rate is only 38%. So, like, you got to remember that the bot will have losing fucking periods. It only wins 38% of the time. So this sell signal, if you buy when it's sold, you have a 61.5% chance for the trade to be a losing trade, which means if you counter traded, it means you're in a winning position, okay? Doesn't necessarily mean, because win rate doesn't necessarily mean profitability. This is an extremely profitable strategy. It's up 5.7,000%. We all know that. The net profit of that is 1.8K, because obviously it had 3.9K of losses. But I'm saying that's another factor here. It's selling into support, which is a good sign for that being a manual trade to be placed. And then you can take that trade, and I've spoken about this extensively a million times. Just read this. Read the advanced strategy on the pinned message. So use my trading bot. Read about it, guys. I promise you, the trading bot strategy with the indicators with an MDX algo subscription will take you into the fucking stratosphere in terms of being profitable. If you're not profitable right now, guys, I don't know what else to say. Go and learn about that strategy. It's fucking right there for free. I've been using it for a decade, and it's made me millions and millions of dollars, okay? There's not more I can give to you on that one. I monetize through the exchange partners, okay? So that's how I make my money with it. Just so you guys know, because it's like everyone's like, yes, I can give you this for free, and you do this for free. It's like, well, look, there's always an incentive, and there always needs to be an incentive, especially in trading. Like, I need to make money from it as well. Otherwise, I just use the strategy to make my own money. But I make money through the exchange partners you use with the bot, and then buying MDX algo because you need the signals. Okay, so I want to talk to you about the reactive indicator, guys. I actually built this indicator many years ago. And I kind of, because I was developing new stuff, kind of just left it in the dust. I left it and it put it in the shadows. But it's an absolute monster. It's a beast because it articulates a few different factors. We just did a video about this in our academy. So if you come to the academy section and you go to, it'll be in the indicator section, and you click on indicator tutorials, you can actually find an indicator tutorial right now of Wavemaster from Jay. And I'm in that video as well, doing extensive deep dive into how it works. But just for you know, I won't go through like an hour-long fucking explanation right now. But this indicator, guys, is using two different variants. So essentially, you have a trader's dynamic range and you have a relative index. So you have a trader's dynamic index and you have a relative strength index. And also you have a bands mode, obviously, which, as you can see, is taking into account relative strength and also volatility, putting more weight on volatility to get a read. And essentially, guys, it's really, really nice for you getting into any type of time frame. I don't want to make anything specific here because a lot of guys like, it only works on this time frame. No, you can use this on any time frame, okay? You can use it on any time frame. It's just going to give you an edge in and out. And you can see, guys, that every single time you get these yellow arrows or potentially come out of the bands, what you're doing is with these dots, actually can articulate that as well, it's showing you really, really nice potential pivots and swing, or let's just say it's moving into its swing up, and then it's stopping that swing up, and then you're going down into another cool-off period or a reversal or a pivot. So you can see here, guys, like down here, multiple yellow arrows, massive move to the upside, came into here, carved off a little bit, which is another, it's coming outside the bands. Again, guys, yellow, really nice little yellow. We've made it yellow for a reason on this specific indicator because it makes it pop out a little bit. It's a re-entry, so it's not actually taking when it comes out of the bands, it's when it re-enters the bands, which is a Bollinger Band. And you can see here, guys, massive move up, came outside the band here, back down, really, really nice. Outside the band, coming down. And also, when the lines are flat, guys, because you got to remember that RSI doesn't give you this type of information. What this can articulate to you is when the bands are actually level and flat, it's telling you what the relative strength within that range is, okay? So it's taking into account the volatility of where you're at. So an RSI right here would just be flat. It won't be overbought or oversold. What this is showing you that is actually it can, in this specific type of range-bound environment, if it's overbought or oversold within that range. An RSI won't do that. This will be flat. But I'm saying it's showing you, is it overbought or oversold within the price range it's in, if that makes sense. We did a whole video on it. And then these blue dots are essentially saying, yes, warning, 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 re-entry, really nice re-entry this morning, and then price action of Bitcoin has moved up, okay? So if you're using the MDX indicators right now, guys, I'd highly recommend going and switching on the reactive mode in Wave Master. So you come in here, you have harmony or reactive, and this mode here, you can turn on ICE settings as well, so you can change the color format if you want to ICE. I've just turned it on the colors because I know the colors. But if you're using the MDX algo indicator suite, guys, try out reactive because it's very, very simple and it's really nice at articulating potentially if something's overbought or oversold within the actual range-bound volatility of the price itself, which is, I think, actually is much more valuable than using a strict RSI, okay? You can actually see it here. We have divergences built into it as well. So you can see here, it's very, very accurate on divergences on higher time frames. So you can see comes outside the bands, yellow back down, lovely move, stop, or basically back to the medium or to the mean. And if you turn on the moving averages as well, you can just say, okay, well, sell, back to moving averages, rebuy on taking profit. Yellow re-entry, move up. So I'll just do every single one. Yellow re-entry, we have a move down. Bearish divergence here, massive move down. Yellow re-entry to the upside, massive move up. Yellow re-entry to the upside. That's actually, let me get it exactly right, what candle that's on. It's literally here. So that literally caught the bottom of the whole move. Again, guys, yellow re-entry here, back down. Bearish divergence here, fucking massive move. Yellow one here. So it's very, very accurate at getting the pivot. Whether it changes the direction of the whole market, that's a different story. It's just you're getting yourself into these risk to reward positions where at least the next candle goes with you and you can put your stop loss and break even. So you have this nice yellow call here to go back up, but it's essentially doesn't mean the whole market has to shift in terms of its swing, but you can then get your stop loss into break even. So you're at least covered just in case it does. In this specific example, it came back down, then you had bullish divergence because obviously the price action was falling and the indicator was increasing. So bullish divergence, regular bullish divergences, the price of the asset is falling, but the momentum is rising. Okay, so there's a regular bullish divergence there. And then you can see a green thing outside the bands, really nice move up. And then, guys, even called this one up here, yellow here, it's absolutely blasting it. And then again, guys, we had a really nice one. So it's a really, really, really well thought out. I actually built this many years ago, but it's simple for a reason. and it a lot of the other indicators can get kind of so much information happening at once. This is just really, really easy to essentially execute on because of the obviously the visuals of it, but the code within itself is using two variants. It's putting volatility first. It's obviously using relative strength, but volatility is more what it's designed to have the read built on the case of, okay? So yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff, guys. I would highly recommend if you're using the indicators right now to check out Reactive. I just wanted to do a little piece on that because we did the whole video about it. I was in the video, talking about the VIP group with it. And it's just doing a very good job. So yeah, guys, that's my short-term, medium-term, and long-term thesis right now. I don't know if I'm going to do a massive video today. I think we'll probably do we'll do 2 hours at least, and I'll ask questions or do all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, today is one of those days where we're kind of waiting for the trade to play out. Like I said, this position here, it's a good risk to reward at this point. If you got into that trade, you would be in profit at this point, around 4%. And to be honest, if I give you like a prediction, I do think that this is the highest probability looking at where we're at. Because if you zip out to a higher time frame here and you go on the daily, the node would be where I would say it would be a good point for it to come to. And, this is, Stu's going to be laughing his head off because it's bang on in the middle of the Stuba fibs. And we came to 618. We've seen some resistance. If we did come into that, we'd go and hit that liquidity pocket. And that could end up resulting in essentially the fuel, all those positions getting liquidated and stopped out for then to come the other way, because guess what? Long to short ratio potentially could go up to 70% up there. And that's when the long to short ratio is the most valuable, when you're significantly staggered on either side. So it's 60-40, yeah, whatever. It's it could be interesting information, but I would say that it's more interesting if we went to 70% long, and that would then coincide with potentially everyone getting long up here. And then we all know that the market makes the fools out the most. So if everybody's long, we'll likely go against it. On the medium term, it wouldn't surprise me, guys, to see something like that. It really wouldn't surprise me to see something like that. Stay within the range bound, stay within 53, 52, 53. Yeah, it could get real interesting here, guys. Okay, let's actually do this. So that's kind of Bitcoin done. I've done the short term, medium term, long term. Now, leggies, let's dive into, let me just get my chart here so you can see it nicely. Let's have a look at the stocks and shares on the stonks market, because we do have a lot of things to talk about. My short is out. I got essentially, my stop loss was trailing it. I do many trailing stop losses on the SPX. So you can see here, guys, that on SPX, we did have the nice short play. Everything played out as expected. Really nice move, guys. It actually came into my orders within 1 or 2 points, guys. Like it came perfectly into the 618. I'd always recommend 618 to 786 on traditional stock markets, or let's just say the indice market. Stock shares indices in the higher, in the top 500 companies of the world, even if you're trading them individually, you want to go for the 618 as your kind of level to start getting in. The Stuba idea is good, but it's because Bitcoin is more volatile because it's a smaller asset. There's less money in it, so it means that the price, and also it's very levered, and 1-to-1 levered instead of like real 5-to-1 margin stuff. It's pretty interesting. So yeah, really nice short, guys, came down. We're getting the levels which we were speaking about on our prior streams. I actually thought it would come down to the 618 retracement. So this is it's just absolute textbook. That's why I love trading traditional after trading Bitcoin for a while, because it's just so nice, in terms of it just plays the textbook a little bit more. I'm just getting this exactly drawn on for you perfectly so you can see how nice it is. So you have, just to tell you what this is in terms of why this was a good trade, you have a break of structure. So this move down was not when you look for the short. You broke this area of structure. You rallied back up into the 618 pocket, and then that was the short, okay? I already spoke about that. Trend, short, coming in. You can even draw the moving averages. If you really want to go down another level, you can see that you're coming into the bands. Moving average are pointing down through them, deviation, Anyway, you can put more and more fucking layers on this if you want. But for this specific trade, you don't really need it. It would have worked with just the fibs. But I would say that if you want to add another parameter to that, I would say that the extra parameter would be, are you coming into the bands? Is it a wick? And are you into the... You can see the band is coming into the blue band at the top. And then massive move down, guys. So you can see as well, legends, the Fibonacci retracement from swing low to high has also come down to the fucking 618, 786. So you can see it's moved down into 618. We're in the 786 pocket. It's exactly the pocket which it got shorted off. Is exactly sold off at the pocket. And I'm not saying the pocket did the selling. I'm just saying people stepped in and sold when it was in the pocket, the golden pocket. And you can see it's done exactly the fucking same thing on the other side. And I said, guys, very likely if we come down to the 786, that would be another place to get into a buy. Aggressive move down to the 786, ladder in. Look at that. You've got another fucking great trade. So really, really good to see those two trades play out so well. I didn't get into the long, by the way. I just took profit on the short. And I had a trailing stop. So really nice. And you could use eToro for this, by the way. It's great platform. I wouldn't use Robinhood for this. eToro is a great platform, actually. I've been not that fond of it over the years, but they are actually building some pretty powerful tools. And it's super fucking simple to use. You know, you can get into CFDs as well and like dive down that market in terms of the US market or the UK market. But there are some really good products in eToro. Obviously, you could go down and look at, you know, specific companies, you know, like a plus 500, for instance. I used to use them for a bit, but they're a bit retail-y bullshit. But for indice markets, it's looking pretty decent. And also Prime XBT as well offer that. So Prime XBT is another exchange I've used for trading the stock market. So guys, what happens next? This is the question. So I do think that it's a little bit over the top. Everyone getting so kind of, oh my God, it's over. You know, I don't think this is articulating any, oh my God, it's over moment right now. I think we've just played two trades. It is a correction for sure. You're probably looking at around from high to low about 8%. So it is a correction by its fundamental quantifiable numbers, because if we're going to call this a recession, and I'm talking a recession in the stock market, it needs to drop more than 20% or 20% or more. Some people will say 15. I go for the 20% mark. And then if it drops 50%, then the stock market is in a depression. The stock market, not the economy, two different things. The economy can still be fine with the stock market going down 50%, and the stock market can still be fine with the economy going down 50%. Okay? Did I say the same thing twice? I don't know. I'm trying to think. I'm saying that vice versa, they're not connected. So if the stock market goes down 50%, the economy can be fine. And if the economy goes down 50%, the stock market can be fine. Just getting that point. I'm trying, legends. Like, fucking hell, the weekends. So yeah, I don't think this is over. This is really important, and also the all-time high is really important. If we did come up again like we are, and we find this trend line as resistance, which wouldn't be surprising at all, here would be actually probably more likely it comes into this as resistance. So you can see this level coming in. It's support, support, support with the gap in there which got filled. You know, we are actually saying, you know, we're in between this pocket here for sure. If it came in like that and saw resistance, it would not surprise me at all. I think actually this is probably the most probable thing that happens. We have 2 points of data on trend here. You know, 1, 2, 3, 4 break. This is only 2 points here. 1, 2, 3, 4 break. You know, I don't want to go by looking at historical data because it doesn't mean it has to happen. But a lot of the time you're getting 4 touch points, all right? And I haven't back tested it because obviously these lines are subjective and I can't code that into a fucking back tested strategy. I could do it obviously, but I'd have to go into it manually and make sure the levels are right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Visually speaking, you know, I'm not going to say that's the best way to trade by just looking at what happened past and then saying it's going to happen this time. No, it doesn't have to happen. I'm just saying that this would be quite plausible, and then the break and continue. I just wouldn't look at this as not something which would be quite predictable if it was going to do something. So that could be a nice area of resistance here. The short really was the high, but if you got out of that, I would say that there could be another potential short coming into this. We're kind of on it now, actually, the last swing high here, and then this level. So if it does something like that, there could be a short to be played. Just remember, guys, if we do then get above this structure, which was the structure which got broken in the first place, if we get above that and then hold, then you're looking at, okay, it might hold trend, okay? So then you need to have a stop loss because it could just go like that, back to here, back in, support, and see you know, and then it begins to rally again. And I don't think it's over. I think it's either this and then we break later and continue higher, or we do it now. And I would say that there is another short to be played, but I don't think it's over for SPX. With inflation-adjusted charts, we're still not even at the all-time high. You know, interest rates are going to come down. Doesn't mean there can't be a big flash crash on it, but interest rates are going to come down, so they are going to be pumping liquidity into the markets. With inflation-adjusted charts aren't pushing the same narrative. I need to get the fucking charts off Chris. I need to get the inflation-adjusted charts off Chris and actually use them on this video. Maybe I'll get Chris in a minute. Viking, we need you, sir. I could probably work it out right now, but I don't want to do it on stream. So yeah, I don't think so. I think if it is going to be doom and gloom, we need to lose very, very likely the swing low of the whole thing, because we're not there yet. We're just in the Fibonacci retracement pockets of the swing, of the major swing we have here. So you have major swing, so it's swing up, swing up. Those are the two major ones, and you obviously have the swing lows here, major move up, swing low here. You could see these are more micro versions of that as well, but you know, fucking semantics at this point. This here is very important. You know, if it did move all the way down to that, very nice buy to be placed there, guys, in terms of a bounce trade for SPX. And then will it come into these levels as resistance? And then you could have an argument to say, yeah, this is probably over, and this will probably take many, many years to recover, maybe between 3 to 10 years. I don't know how long this was. This was 21. This is 3 years. Yeah, 3 years here. So, you know, that's what you're looking for. That was the COVID shit. Actually, no, sorry, that was COVID. This was the recent. Everyone was like, oh my God, it's over. We're going to fucking zero. And then we just moon shipped it. And I was essentially calling guys down here. I was saying that I do think the stock market will rally and have a good end of year. It actually did coincide with this being all the way to the end of the year into this July, August, September, November. So, guys, if we go back on my videos, you will see me literally specifically saying, here it is. I think we come to trend, hit the mid zone and continue. I think it's exactly the same thing again with what we're doing now on a smaller scale. The only time I'll change that narrative and start shorting instead of longing in terms of the whole entire market, so I'll be looking to sell spot or buy spot, will be if we lose this level here. So if I'm really in the, you know, if we come to here and we come back up and we're looking at rejecting these, this is the line in the sand for me. You know, I'm only really going to look to buy support in this area. Obviously, there was a really nice short to be played at the top, but, you know, you're going to take a scalp short every now and again for sure. Like, this is an absolute no-brainer in terms of coming into, you know, this is just textbook shit. You have the low, the swing low here, it breaks it. You have a lower low like that, and you have a lower high into the fib, bang, with into the bands as well. Very nice short-term scalp, short trade. But in terms of anything big, you know, substantial for me to say I'm going to start selling out of my fucking stock market, spot bags and looking for shorts only, it's the all-time high is definitely important. But if the posture was this, if it moved extremely quickly to here and broke this very fast, you know, I would say, okay, like, this is pretty aggressive, and the likelihood of actually getting resistance again is probably quite high. But if we just want to meander down nice and slowly and fanny around, oh, and then we have a little bit more of a nuke, and then it's like that, and we just, yeah, I think it just continues. The faster we go down, probably the more dire it's going to be, because that's essentially fear taking over. But in terms of, you know, big, substantial short positions or looking to sell spot, this is the line in the sand for me. And then if it does lose that, it will likely take a few years to recover. And then eventually it will go up again because there's just more dollars being printed on this planet than there are fucking stocks being created out of thin air. Dow Jones, don't really need to go into it. It's essentially, you know, the same. I don't really look at the. Everyone's like the Dow. It's like I just don't look at the Dow that much. It doesn't really make sense to me. It's a very small basket of assets. Yes, they are the biggest, but you know, for SP 500 collectively, nice way to look at the general market. US 100, of course. So I'd say this is a better thing to look at. US 100 hasn't even broken its prior high on the monthly. You know, we haven't even lost the prior swing low. And everyone's calling for SPX to dump. You know, the top 100 are holding up better than the lower 400. So for me, this is a good sign. There wasn't even ever a short on this market. There was a short on the SPX. The lower stocks got hit, and we got the short, and it all played out very nicely. Actually, it was up here. But the US 100, the 100, you know, the 400 are the ones who are not fucking pulling their weight. Like, these guys are doing fine. They haven't even lost a swing low. I'm trying to see if there was anything like really a level. Like, no, like it just hasn't really, like, yes, maybe you could say from there to there, but there's not enough. You can see auto charting tools is showing you the levels. Like, this indicator does it all for you, right? It's showing you where the levels are. This is a naked chart without auto charting. Whoops, wrong one. You can see that's where it's at. And if you do want to bring on Trendmaster, you can see as well, it's not even there yet. It's still got this. You couldn't short into this. If you draw a fib on this, you couldn't short into it. It hasn't broken this yet. It's probably just going to end up doing that and then continuing. If it did this and went lower and broke that and then came up into that, then they're fine. Potential chance here. Same as Bitcoin, really, on most of the shorts you're looking on BTC. But US 100's a little bit better. Hasn't lost this yet. If it loses it, fine. We can change the analysis. But lower high, like, it hasn't even broken structure. So Dixie, yes, coming down. Again, it's one of those plays, I think Dixie, I think it's going to be less relevant moving forward, to be honest, because I do think there's going to be other fiat currencies that are going to collapse and they're going to go into US dollars. And I don't think the Dixie needs to be going down for Bitcoin to be going up. I don't think if Dixie's going up, Bitcoin needs to be going down. I just don't think there's correlation there. But I would say that if we are falling in the Dixie and the dollar's getting weaker, I would say that actually there would be a higher probability that the traditional stock market and the cryptocurrency market will be rising. There's a higher probability. Not saying it has to. I'm just saying a higher probability if we do lose this level, we're going to go all the way down to trend. It's going to be the same as this, guys. So let me give you a good example of when it just lost its level and just absolutely nuked. Yeah, so you can see here, higher high, lost the level here, nuked all the way back down, almost a trend, another nuke to trend. So I think this is what we could get again on the Dixie. It could be now. This could be the lower high. If we get this, it's going to be a lower high, very likely. If we do a higher high, then fine. That would be some sort of fiat currency collapse. But then I think it's going to be okay, back to trend. If it's already happened, fine. If we go, if we lose this level here, guys, which is historically for many, many years since 2014, been a very, very crucial SR level. It's resistance coming in multiple times and then support. If you lose that, it's going straight to this trend line, like in one fucking go. It might even break the trend. And if it breaks the trend, then we have a lot to talk about. That will be a big global thing, right? Well, maybe not global, but in the trading sphere, if we break this long-term trend line, yeah, it's going to be a talking point for sure. Because then it's like, oh, do we see this now as resistance? And if we do, Dixie's broken a whole long-term fucking uptrend. And that could get pretty interesting for what that's going to relate to in terms of prices of other asset classes, because obviously that means people are buying things with dollars. That's what it means. Great British Pounds, I won't even bother. It's, with the riots and everything as well, it's not helping the fucking picture. But it might have a pop-up, but I just don't think the Great British Pound is going to be able to get above here in terms of relation to the US dollar. It might have one last hurrah, but then you're coming back. And then it might get a higher low. There might be something. Like, let's be completely objective. I just can't help but understand the macroeconomics of the UK, which doesn't bode well for the Great British Pound. And also, the Great British Pound is downtrending still forever, since the 70s. So, we'll see. The Euro does have probably a little bit of a better... The Euro is definitely better off than the Pound. I'll tell you that, in terms of being able to scoop up a little bit more upside, because at least the Euro since the 70s has been uptrending, right, to a degree. We have broken this trend line here, which is 2 points of data. If you want to be completely, fair with this, you could draw the top side as well and be like, oh, but we're an upward sloping channel, whatever. But yeah, it's uptrending. It doesn't, it don't have to be a rocket scientist to say that this is slowly over the decades since the 70s been rising. Yes, we have a break of this trend, which isn't a great sign, but it's better than downtrending since the fucking 70s, isn't it? Yeah, I think it's a similar story. If it comes to here, you're looking for the higher low on this, and then that could be what, there'll probably have to be some macro, big economic macro event, which will change, the euro being a stronger denominator than the fucking pound, or obviously the pound, but the dollar, for instance. But in terms of US dollars, the US dollar is probably going to be the one which does it, but I would say this is what you're looking for the euro. And then that could be a rise back up for the euro. And I think it has a better chance of the Great British Pound. That's what I'm trying to say. Tesla. The Tezzies. I'm going to bring up indicators straight on this because I think we're bang on in the middle there with the old fucking EMA band. It's a good chart, though. I think it may have done it in terms of its low. This may have been it. To me, it just looks like a very, very standard sideways symmetrical formation it's carving out here. And these, because you've come into it so bullish, I think it's quite like you come out of it bullish. And I think over this will probably peter out over the next few years. Maybe actually taking into 26. But I don't think it's anything like that just yet. Maybe in end of 25. But overall Tesla's looking pretty good. The local bottom of this whole move might be in actually on this, and if it is, that's great because I do think that the buying. I was telling people to buy on this nuke here, and I said we might get one more into it, but these two lower highs is pretty good, guys. If you got in at those levels, I was saying months ago that if this comes back, did we even get the 618? Let me have a quick look. I just want to check. I think we did. We went to the 786, guys. So that's just I was saying 786 between the 618 and 786. Tesla's a good buy. It might hold. If it doesn't, it breaks something or earnings come out and they fucked up, then fine. But strictly speaking, with price action here, it just looks like flag sideways continuation up in the future, and they'll probably take 2 years though. Like this is not going to happen tomorrow. Looking at projecting forward, 26 would be so it's a couple years probably. Amazon, there is a short to be placed here, guys. There will be a short on Amazon. This is called 3 red soldier pattern as well, actually. There is a gap and there is a break of structure. So there is a short on Amazon coming up. Obviously, it's a great company, but that doesn't matter on this one because you've lost this area. And, if it comes back up into this, it is the same trade like we did on SPX. Come on, legends. Come on. Let me draw all this on for you. I've actually changed the numbers, but it'll be 618 to 786. This is not the golden pocket for traditional traditional stocks. I wouldn't say you would do this on this specific ticker. Go for this high. I would say it's between here and here, actually. And then if you look at the moving averages, if it comes up into this like that, there's likely going to be a short placed here. Well, I will likely take a short here. Whether it goes all the way to the lows, like I said on SPX, SPX went up and then it nuked all the way down to the lows. That was a great short. But like I said, exactly the same rationale here, exactly the same thesis. If it's a higher low, that can happen, obviously. And I'm not saying that the short means it has to go and lose the low. I'm just saying that it could make a higher low, but that would be your position anyway. That would be your short position. And then you're looking to get out, at, like guys, I'm saying again, logical SR. So try and get out, try and get in. There is a short though here. There's going to be something nice here. Get rid of Scout Pro a second. Meta, I just don't trade Meta. I just bought it when it nuked, and I did a fucking fractal, and I said what might happen. And it literally happened, which is kind of hilarious that I did that. But anyway, Google, it's all the fibbies again. Like I don't know what to say with Google. It's one of those ones where I would like to potentially look for shorts here. Hasn't really broken much structure, but it's just fucking Google, and I don't think Google's business model is going away anytime soon. All the people who are saying, but ChatGPT, Google's gone. Yes, I've been saying that for many years as well. I used to have conversations with people saying, like, guys, one day Google won't exist, and you say you're a fucking idiot. Like, what are you talking about? What do you mean Google won't exist? It will last forever. It will always be a company. I was saying, bro, you got the illusion of the eschaton. Read George Glidener's work, and you will realize that actually nothing lasts forever. Even the things you think that in your little life, that you think it's going to last forever in your little lifetime, but history is very clear that nothing lasts forever. So, yeah. Oh, God, itchy mouth. What the fuck? I need some water. Itchy mouth because I'm blasting off for fucking an hour straight. There is potentially probably a short, maybe coming up into the 618 up here, but like it's just Google. I don't think ChatGPT is really going to harm the revenue of the business just yet. I do think ChatGPT will ultimately probably, change what we do, in terms of the searching algorithm system. But the searching algorithm system isn't going to get hit in the next 5 years, I don't think, and their revenue's not going to go down because I think really, if you look at earnings, etc., of what Google is, it's more of just an advertising platform for AdSense. And ChatGPT don't have that model yet, where they have a subscription-based model, which is obviously very, very lucrative as well. But the amount of money which goes into Google through AdSense is just unfucking believable. You have companies spending millions and millions and millions of dollars and all the data they have. So it's more of a data advertising company at this point. And the search is still a part of it, but the search, if it went away tomorrow, yes, it would mean they'd get less information and data, but I would still think that they would have the YouTube AdSense system running. So I don't know. I just can't fade Google at this point just because I own a bag of it, and I would rather just not fucking... I'll fucking short the SPX. It's going to go up and down. in terms of individual stocks and shares like Tesla and all these other ones and like Meta, etc. Like that's less of what I do in my strat. Indices fine, but like individual stocks and shares, you got to worry about earnings, got to worry about this, got to worry about fucking who the team is. Or are they changing the fucking management structure? Or they move to this country? They different LLC. Like that's why I love crypto. It's like trading commodities that represent companies. It's absolutely hilarious. So the Fed rate, you know, it's one of those ones, isn't it, legends? It's not going to go on flat forever. There aren't many cases of it being flat for this long. I think if we go for another 6 months, that would be around where I would say the let's just say that there'll be pressure, I think, from multiple areas of the economy, whether it's servicing the debt, whether it's the new government in America, whether it's the people potentially, whether it's business, whether it's enterprise, or even all the way up to international size companies, etc., having to pay, you know, their debts back and stuff. I think there's going to be in the next 6 months a lot of pressure for the Fed to drop rates. Whether they do it, they can stay at zero. The thing is, being at zero is easier than being at 5, because you know when you're at zero, the US government don't have to pay anything back on their own debt. Like paying back your debts is never easy or never good for if you didn't ever have to pay back any of your debts, you could probably, you know, make a lot more money, couldn't you? So it's when you pay back debt, it's restricting things in whatever it is, your business, your enterprise, your home, and your economy or your government. So I'd say my point is this: I don't think it's longer than 6 months. The pressure they're going to get, because you got to remember the servicing of the debt is, I think, something roughly in America the same as what they're getting in terms of tax income. I don't know the exact numbers. You guys in America could probably tell me the exact numbers, but I did see something in our group. I think it was in our VIP group. Someone mentioned that the servicing of the debt on what they're giving back essentially to the Fed is the same as all US tax dollars coming into the government, which is fucking mental and just ridiculous in every single sense. So they'll bring down interest rates. I do think there's probably going to be a blip in the stock market. I do think there's probably going to be a blip as well in crypto. And I do think that seems to be some downside before upside in the initial, right the moment it happens. I do think there's going to be actually downside prices, and then that will be an opportunity to then get in, and then the money begins to come in. Because it's not like if the Fed drop interest rates down to here tomorrow, 2.5%, for an example, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's going to be a massive flood of money in the economy tomorrow. It could take between 12 and 18 months for that money that they print to actually realize itself into the economy, and that's only base currency. Then you have to think about all the other loans going through, because a lot of the inflation we see is not created by the Federal Reserve. That's just base currency. A lot of the interest we see, a lot of the increase of dollars in the economy we see is from loans made by private banks. Okay, so that's where some of the tools they actually use in the central banks with reverse repo comes from, etc. So this is interesting, guys. I think it was 6 months. But look, I would say as well, I think it's 6 months just by that kind of rough analysis I gave you. But I wouldn't say that I'm an expert on exactly timing the Fed. And I wouldn't say anybody is. I would just say that I would rather not be an expert in trying to time when the Fed's going to do something and be an expert on what the price action is doing. So just to make a point, I wouldn't bet the farm on me thinking it's going to drop in 6 months, because I just think that's roughly speaking an estimate from me. But I put a lot more time and effort into the price action of markets other than the uncontrollable potential. It can even be subjective, whether it's good or bad, interest rates rising or falling. But I'd say it's good for risk because it means that there's more money floating around, which means the price rise. But does it mean the value rise? No, that's another argument in itself. So my point is that I try to keep things as objective as possible and stick to the price charts as much as possible, because a lot of these other factors within the economy, firstly, aren't controllable, not quantifiable, and there's really no evidence to say, actually, even if the Fed brought down interest rates, does that mean that the price has to go up? Or that, like, you know, there's so many fucking questions. But we know from reality, the reality of the situation is the price is doing this. So that's that little bit of spiel out the way, you legends. You know that one, don't you? If you've watched my course, then you know that, yes, hello, price action first. for sure. Damn, I wish I had your brain. Well, it's mine. It's in my head, and it's not for sale. I'm 10 stellar in right now. Well, mate, anyone's fucking... A sober brain... To be honest, when I get pissed sometimes, like 2 pints, I can play some computer games. I can play pool. I can do some shit better with 2 pints. Like 2 pints of beer, and you will not beat me at a game of pool. That's the fucking rule. Gambled earlier at 8,000 with 60x. Only small pickings, but 200% up. Closed 75% of the trade / gamble. Yeah, well, if you are 10 fucking stellars cut and you're doing a 60x $8,000 trade, which is what was it, $500,000 or something like that? 60 times actually. It's way more than that. Well, dude, I don't even know what position size you're looking at. Probably not the best way to do that is by blasting. If it 10x is fucking 80,000, right? So you're going for it. Maybe a 700k trade. So yeah, this is kind of, if you're going to be trading these markets like this, especially Bitcoin, when you're half cut, it's definitely going to be a gamble, sir. But I did this morning put out the trade and say there's probably likely going to be a move up. Regardless of both scenarios, you know, likely going to be a move up to resistance anyway, and that's what we're getting, especially with the bot sell. No riots where I live. Welby, North Yorkshire. Yeah, that's good, man. The riots, you know, oh god, don't even get me started. I've been talking to my friends and about that and stuff, but the riots are just, it's not. I understand there should be protest for what happened in the UK with those children getting fucking slaughtered with knives. Like, there should be a protest on that. But the whole thing was all misconstrued. The information was wrong. It was all on social media, blaming this, blaming that. It then got religious. Now it's racial. Then it's this and it's that. And then you've got the fight. It's just, everyone's just come out for their own say. And it's not really, they've got their own truth. It's all about their own truth. Like, there isn't really truth to any of it. It's just too big, the far left and the far right coming together and clashing and using this thing which wasn't even to do with any of that as a reason for having a fucking massive argument. Like, we should stop having an argument, and the riots should never happen anyway. But we should stop fucking having arguments about, I don't want to get into it, but we should stop fighting each other on the differences that we have and having arguments about the differences and saying you're right and you're wrong, and just stop and be like, we have differences, what are the solutions? And the solutions are, just stop immigration. Just stop it. Just stop immigration, because we don't know what's going on. It might not even be to do with immigration, right? But it also might be to do with immigration. And I would say it probably is, to a degree, to do with having hundreds of thousands of people into the country over a short period of time. That's not going to be good. Like, it's not sustainable. So all they've got to do is say, yo, okay, look. Instead of arguing about it was because of the Muslims, it was because of the fucking far left, it was because of these twats, it was because of immigration, instead of just arguing about what the reason is, just go, what are the solutions? Okay, let's just lock down the border, just for a period of time, completely lock it down. No one else is coming in. Look at what people are doing in the markets and in the communities and have a discussion. Okay, how can we integrate better? What can we do? And then just get the fucking knives out of the streets. Even though you can't take them off them. Like, obviously, there's kitchen knives. Like, what are you going to do? It needs to be some sort of just healing process. Whether it's people coming out and talking and discussing and having more overall general community-driven activities to bring people together so they don't fucking stab each other the whole time. So it's kind of essentially reforming the people within the UK and having, trying to heal those individuals and then just stopping immigration. That would be a solution. Just do it. Like, no one knows. Just stop it. Just do it. Like, it's so simple. Just do those two things. Stop arguing about who's right and who's wrong and whose fault it was and was it this fucking group or was it that group. Stop arguing about all that shit because you're never going to come to a fucking agreement on it. So just stop and be like, we disagree, what are the solutions? And probably one of the solutions, if everybody can agree on it, is just like close the borders down for a bit, reevaluate the situation, try and build some sort of support structures for the people who are having issues. You know, whether it's people in Wales or fucking people who have no money. Get the army back, kind of make the community safe, get policing into a nice level where it's not fucking totalitarianism. They're for the people, helping the people. Anyway, it's more complicated, obviously, than anyone thinks. Because on both sides, they've both got good arguments for their reasons why they think it's happened, but there's no point picking a side. There's no point picking a side. Just accept the differences between what everybody thinks and just come up with, just only think of solutions. Just don't think of the bad, just don't think about it. It happened, it's disgusting, it's mental that all these people have been stabbed. It's horrible. But instead of pointing the finger about whose fault it was, just go, we just need to think of the solution to the problem. And that's it. Because it's probably a little bit of everybody's fault, you know? It's probably a bit the far right, it's probably a bit the far left. Because they're both doing stupid extreme shit. All we can do is we can say this, that it is extremists who are the ones who are pushing these types of ideas, and they're having this type of effect on young people. So young people are the ones who are getting affected by extremism on both sides. Like, because the far right would say he shouldn't be in the country. That's a load of bollocks. And then the far left would say, but everyone should everyone should have the right to, be able to do what they want and like call themselves fucking gender this and that. And it's all just ridiculous. Just shut the fuck up. Just everyone shut up. And stop with all this extreme bullshit and come into the middle and be like, what are the solutions? Just what are the solutions? And probably one of the solutions would be to reduce the amount of immigration, but also one of the solutions would be to just vet people better and have better community-driven things for people to fucking go and do. Like, because these are areas of the country like Wales, like, they just don't have much in terms of very high immigration and very low job creation. So you're going to have lots of people who are in a situation where they're unemployed, and also there's lots of different cultures increasing the population. So increasing property prices because of that. You don't have much job creation. It's just like a fucking recipe for disaster. But it's I don't know exactly what the solutions are as either. Like, anyone doesn't. No one knows exactly what the solutions are. All we can do is just try and say, we don't really know what the solutions are, but it's better to think about what the solutions are than argue about what the problems are. Like, that's just not going to get anybody anywhere. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? All the far right are going to suddenly be like, okay, you were right because of your protest. Now we join you. Or the far left are going to be like, yes, you know what? You were right on that. And after my protest, now I'm far left or far right. Like, it's not even worth anyone's time. Just compromise and come to the middle and come up with a fucking solution. Because the protesting is there for a reason. Like, we have, in England, it's illegal to protest. That's great. We don't live in a country like North Korea or something, or fucking areas of the globe where you're not allowed to protest. It's illegal to protest, for instance. Like, it's good that we can protest. But with that responsibility of being able to protest, you need to have some fucking levels of just grounds where you just don't start smashing into things, breaking things, making it violent. Like, there was one in Wales. I can't remember actually. No, it was in the Midlands. There was a riot happening in the Midlands. Well, it was a protest which turned into a riot. And all these kids were just going around smashing up cars and smashing through windows. And it was just young teenage, semi-adult males doing it. And, and no one was doing anything to try and get in their way because they were just scared shitless. So it's a problem with there's no discipline on the younger classes anymore. They're just walking around smashing shit and breaking people's cars and fucking stuff up and throwing cars over and burning them. These young fucking youths. And that's not the police's job. That's the society. That's the parents of those kids to have it. So, okay, if you go out and say, where's a really strict country on children, for instance, like, say, China or India, for instance, Indian parents. I just don't see many Indian kids doing that kind of shit because their parents are so like, what the fuck are you doing? You're like disgusting on our name, our family name. They have a family unit. Like, it's not the police's job to be running around putting kids in jail who are smashing up car windows because They're kids anyway. They can't even go to jail, most of them. So it's about the fucking parents of those communities sticking up and standing up and saying, you do not fucking do this. But then the far left are like, well, your fucking son knows more than you. He's in a gender transition because of this and that. No, the government can't be getting involved with that and saying, oh, now your kid has more rights about what he's going to be. You can't even get a tattoo in England until you're 18 years old, but apparently you can change your gender as a fucking 8, 9, 10-year-old kid. It's fucking outrageous, mate. It's absolutely outrageous. And then, yeah, you've got this big infiltration of the family unit. Parents can't even discipline their own kids because there's like the fucking government's involved. And then they're scared to do anything because, you know, you don't want to go in England, you don't want to go. So say there's a kid breaking into something under the age of 18. Like as an adult, and you go and intervene with that and do something. In England, they'll probably side with the kid. You know, you'll probably go and punch him or something, or fucking get him out of the shop. What the fuck are you doing? Discipline him in a normal way, like say a young man breaking into a fucking shop. You'll end up probably the one who's getting the most convictions out of it. Like, it won't be the kid, because he's a kid anyway, and the kids don't go to jail. Like, they do go to, obviously, youth-style things, but there's that horrible catchment where it's like, because you're essentially beating up a minor at that point, even though they are doing something wrong, but then they're not an adult yet, so they don't know right and wrong. So it's so fucking mental, man. MDX in the house. Yeah, I'm here, bro. Just chilling. Doing a bit of a stream. I'm just talking about anything right now at this point. But yeah, the whole thing's a bit mental. I don't even want to. I'll maybe do an actual video on it and like think about some real points about it. I haven't really had time to think and actually about it. Like, I've just been so busy with other stuff, and I have a life, for fuck's sake. Like, how many people like are just wasting their lives talking about this shit or participating in it? Especially the violent shit. It's just bullshit. But I think it's just like a horrible synergy where like. You need to have social policing within communities to stop young people from doing this. But then there's so much backlash from the far left, which makes it so people are scared to discipline younger people. The family unit breaks down. You have all these people just going for violence. They're too scared to do anything because they might get thrown in jail for just trying to stop them from breaking something, or they might get hurt themselves. So essentially you have this weird flipped hierarchy of family units not working. Younger generations are wrecking shit for everyone. And it's just like... There seems to be hard barriers and rules to this kind of shit. Like, it's a family problem as well. And then the problem is the family's so fucked because people are so ridiculed with wealth. Education's bad because of it being social education instead of private education. It's just like... And then you have Keir Starmer, who's going to make it even more difficult for kids, you know, for families to send their children to private education. And I'm not even saying private education is necessarily any better for the kid. I'm just saying that if you pay for it, you have a say. You have a say on what you want. And if you pay for your child's education, at least you have a choice of what you decide to do or which school you decide to send them to. And you have a say in the school by saying, you know what, we pay for this. We don't want you to teach this. Like if all the parents came up and said, look, we're going to pull our kid from your school because you're teaching them some weird shit we don't agree with, and it's a big majority, you know, then that school goes bust in terms of it being private. So, like, the problem with a social education system is, like, you don't have any say on what gets taught. You have no choice. Because it's like, well, it's free. That's the curriculum. What are you going to do about it? And then you can't afford to pay privately educate because, you know, Keir Starmer's making it even more difficult for kids to go to private education. And like I said, it doesn't even necessarily mean the education's any better, because we know that it's the teachers. Teachers are the ones who teach kids and teach people things. And if you have an incredible teacher, regardless of private or fucking state or whatever it is, you're going to learn. Like, it's just about the teacher. Like, you could have the best teacher in the world who no one even knows about right now, just making no money, just teaching kids good shit. You could have a teacher being paid much more in private education but doesn't know their ass from their ear. So, like, obviously it comes down to individual teachers. So it's not just linear, private's better than state or state's better than private. All I could say is that if you haven't got a choice in state education, or let's just say free education in England, there's no competition for those schools to get better, and you have no say on what's taught to those teachers except from the government. So it's getting on for communism in a sense, where the government are essentially prescribing what's being taught to the kids. And at least in A private system, you don't have that problem because the government isn't involved in what they teach the children. The school itself are trying to promote themselves to say, we will teach your kids these things. Do you like it? Now pay for it. So it's a more of a, it's a better, if you really go down the rabbit hole, the probability of your kid having a better education or a better mindset probably is higher in private education than public education over a mass majority. I'm not saying there aren't certain cases, but I'm saying that if you really think about it, the probability of your kid being good is more likely in private education. Especially now. That might have been different 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but fuck it, bro. I went to both. I went to free schools in England and I went to private schools in England. I did both. All right, I did the beginning, it was a privately educated, and towards the end, it was more publicly educated. Okay, so I've done both sides. I've seen both sides, and they're both actually have their pros and their cons. They're both good and they're both bad in certain ways. But I would say at this point, definitely, private is the way to go, because the state system is so overrun with radicalization on both sides, and with no real way to change it, because no parents can change it because they don't have a say. It's the government who are doing the whole thing. The only way they have a say is by changing the government, but that happens every 4 years. So it's like there's no actionable change straight away. Anyway, England's got problems, guys. Ingliski Iruniente has some issues. I'm just kind of shooting from the hip on what I'm saying here, but I think there should be a little bit more common sense, But it's difficult because I don't claim to be any great fucking politician or know exactly the answers. I just think that there's a better system, and there's something very deep rooted wrong with England for the last at least 20 years. And it probably, and this is only probable, I'm not saying this is the exact case because there's lots of different things. It probably comes down to the fact that there is more and more publicly owned things, and socialism has essentially taken a grasp of England. And we know with that, essentially, it becomes less of a meritocracy system, and you have more of a kind of an equity problem where it's like, okay, what's the benefit of doing something anymore? Because if you go and get a really good education, you own go to these things, you might just be quoted out of something just because it needs to be equal and right and all equal rights bullshit. So it's kind of a problem where the more things that people want to share with other people, the less incentive there are for people to go and make their own ends meet for themselves. And if there's less people who want to go and work for themselves and just take from others, you can understand how that will create a brain drain at some level. Because people who work really hard for something don't always want to give it all away. And people who don't work hard for something, and they have less, they want to take more and more and more. So unfortunately, what you're going to do is you're going to get a situation where if the government want to keep increasing taxes and keeping sharing and taxating and making everything shared between everybody equally, or that's their goal, to equally share everyone's resources equally through what they're doing in socialism, you're just going to have a situation where you're going to have people who say, I don't want to participate in this, and leave. And then more people who leave usually are the ones who have the assets and the resources who work hard for it. So you have a brain drain and a capital drain of that nation. It's very simple. And Labour government are going to increase taxes on not the lower end of society, which is fine, But the problem is that if you're not going to tax any of the lower end of society anymore and only tax the higher end of society, it's very simple what that leads to. It's so simple, guys. You can't just only penalize a certain type of individual, or let's just say CEO, executive positions, and company owners or small business owners, because they're not going after the big corporations because they can't. They can't go over the big corporations because they have all the tax stuff all sorted out. They have LLCs and partnerships, and they have company structures all sprinkled and tentacles in all different countries. So all these big corporations in England, you think McDonald's is paying corporation tax? No, obviously not. So unfortunately, what Keir Starmer is going after, he's going after not big businesses. He's going after entrepreneurial individuals who are the ones who create businesses and create jobs. He's there, and not to a massive degree, just the middle, the middle or higher, not the big. So it's like, okay, well, if you're going to do that, all those fuckers are just going to leave, and then there's less jobs in the economy, which then means that more people want to share everybody's things. It's just a downward spiral because you're just going to hit business owners, entrepreneurial individuals, and people who have small businesses, essentially. If they're all like, fuck it, I'm going to go move to Dubai because there's no tax, like me, then, you're just going to miss out on lots of job creations in the UK market, and you're just going to miss out on money being spent in the UK market. If every single millionaire... Because last year, 8,000 millionaires left England last year. And 5,000... Actually, I think it was actually more than that. The numbers were wrong about Dubai. It's actually more. I think it's around net equal. I think around 8,000 millionaires left the UK last year. And around 9,000 joined Dubai. And that doesn't mean they were all from England, just all around the globe. Singapore was up massively. Dubai was up massively. The US was still up, but almost flat. So the US historically has had all the millionaires wanted to go to the US market because it's so affluent. But now it's like only 2,000 extra, which historically is very low. So I think America will probably end up on the decline as well. But England was a massive exodus, a huge exodus of millionaires from the country. And that's just because there's a two-tiered system against people who have businesses and people who don't. This Labour government are just for the worker. They're not for the person who is employing the worker. So unfortunately, what you're going to do is you're going to scare away all the individuals who have businesses and pay the taxes and pay the rent and take the risk. And if you scare those people away, the people who let's tax them so we have more money. Oh, but now you haven't got a job. So you need even more fucking money. So you have a vicious cycle where it's like, okay, now we need to tax even more. And then, okay, 90% tax for someone who has a business and 0 tax for if you don't. It's not fair. It's not fair in any way because the people who create the businesses are the ones who put a lot of hard work and risk and go through a lot of hardship to get there. We all know how hard, we look at any video on Instagram, going, oh my God, like the journey to get to where I was so hard and this all about guts and determination and loving what you do and doing more hours than this. Like, you think everyone's going to fucking do that for 60% going to the government? I'm sorry, guys. It's just laughable bullshit. You really think people are going to go through all that bullshit of setting up a business in England and going through the tax regulations and sorting out the AML fucking KYC and going through the goddamn tape and the bureaucracy and speaking to a lawyer and paying the bills here and there's a minimum wage which is really high. All that bullshit to give 60% of it to the government. Dude, it's so unbelievably fucked. It's so stupid, the whole thing. It should be the same tax for everyone. Imagine if you went to England and you were like, you could do some crazy experiments. But yeah, and like you're saying as well, Johnny, like the actual system to enforce the courts is all corrupt as well. Like, there's so much bullshit happening with the court system. Like, you're getting men who are just getting fucking wrecked by these ridiculous laws. And it's like, and women as well, of course. But you go to England, you ask who's more unhappy right now, men or fucking women. I know a lot of my friends who are in really, really difficult situations when it comes to fucking divorces and fucking having a company where you can't even fire someone even though they've done something wrong, or you got to pay this stupid fucking... They have to want to leave if you can fire them, and you can't sell your house while someone's living it as a tenant. They have to leave too. Okay, so is the house mine or not? It's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, so unfortunately the riots were just... the riots are like an explosion of... frustration over the last like 10-15 years in the UK, where the Conservatives essentially aren't a Conservative party in any sense, and I don't even vote for governments in a sense because they're not really anything. I believe in governing myself. I don't believe in government to govern me. I believe in governing myself, so I don't put time and effort into thinking about which government I should choose to govern me. I just think about what I should do to govern myself to get rid of that government arm which has power over me. So I have a whole different way of looking at life, like for most people. But if I was gonna be completely honest, like, the Conservatives are supposed to be more right leaning than left, and I don't think. I think a lot of frustrations come out of people were voting for conservative views, but they didn't get it. And this is just kind of like an explosion of frustration and anger of people being like, well, we're just not getting anything from the government. Like, even if you say you're this, you're not. You know, if we vote for that, we don't get it, even though you said you gave it to us, kind of thing. It's like, it's a real fuck up, man. But like I said, it's one of those things where the thing is, then what annoys me about the whole thing is that there probably is a simple solution. There probably is a simple solution, but there's just so much complexity to try and grasp to get to that simple solution, where it kind of makes it so you're trying to walk through a barbed wire fence to get to the solution. I just know that's the frustrating thing about it is I don't care about it, but I know there's probably quite a simple solution. It's just really difficult to put your finger on, because there are lots of different aspects to this thing where it's like, but all we know is it's not working right now. There's no point trying to prove anyone wrong or right about it. It's more to do with what are the solutions, and it's like there's probably a simple solution. The simple solution probably comes down to a radical rethink of how society should interact with itself, essentially, and that probably comes down the road of the issue is that even in Rome back in you know, the thing is, there's been some instances where Rome's gone through absolute carnage, and then there's been moments, I think, with Pompey and obviously Julius Caesar, where they've had to essentially thrown themselves the ability of being a dictator to change the way that there is it's almost like you have to dance with the devil. To change England, you might need a dictator, which is obviously going completely in a radical way, to then get to the point where people will listen and be like, okay, we are this is the dictator we're putting in, for him then to be able to make the necessary changes. Because it's like, without that 100% you do what I say right now, you're just going to have this two-tiered party system where it's like, oh, I'll do a little bit here and then we get it retracted. Oh, I'll do a little bit here and then get retracted. I've done this point a million times. It's almost like you have to go far extremes to far extremities to get to the better place, but you have to go through this horrible period of time, for instance, with Rome, where they went through a dictatorship to fix everything. They wouldn't have been able to fix the issues with population. They wouldn't be able to fix the famines and the droughts and sorting out what happened after Pompey if there wasn't a dictator to do that. And then back to only 10 years, back to normal, because it was obviously a republic, and then then they had the emperor, which was more of a monarchy system. So it's weird, man, how there's going to have to be some radical thing, which is just different. Like almost what some of the things that you see in a lot of other empires went through, where it's like they changed the whole system. Because you got to remember, like, England was a good place at one point, and it didn't used to be a good place. So there's always good and there's always good and bad. You know, there's always good times and bad times, and we managed to get to good times. And there's been bad times in the past which we've gotten over. So it's possible. God. I'm in a kayak in the middle of Norway right now listening to MDX. That's sick as fuck, dude. I love the internet for that. You're in a kayak in the middle of Norway. Mate, that is sick. Just floating about with MDX talking some jargon about fucking politics. I'll ask some questions, guys. I'll chill here for a bit. I'm just waiting for this to play out. As usual, we wait and talk. But yeah, it's like to be honest, I haven't this stream right now. I've done zero research or thought about really my points, because I haven't really looked that deep into this whole riot thing and into, you know, what really is, you know, going to help this situation in England right now. I will sit down and have a think. I kind of have a general idea of it, of, you know, both sides of the party, but it's so difficult to get an unbiased report of what's going on. You have to go on YouTube and just watch videos of people walking around the streets with a camera. That's literally how you can get an actual idea of what's going on. If you're there, obviously fine, but you know, there's only 100,000 people at these riots, and there's millions of, if not billions of people watching it. So like, you know, Elon Musk has completely gone mental on this whole shit. It's completely wrong. It's like, the whole Muslim thing is not exactly right, guys. Like, it's not exactly right. Like, yes, there are lots of migrants who have come in who have different faiths, and that's not great because there's a very, very large amount of people who've entered the UK with different faiths, which is going to create a little bit of a ruckus at the beginning. Because obviously it's just like, just even stereotyping and shit. Just like, you look different, you're different, you have this different view. That's just going to be an issue. But like, yeah, Mr. Bean for PM, I'm 100% on that. But yeah, that situation there is lots of immigrants coming in. There's going to be a bit of a ruckus. It's like suddenly if 100,000 Brits move to Japan, some of the Japanese brothers are going to get a bit like, yo, what's well, you look different. What the fuck? You don't speak Japanese. What the fuck? There's going to be that. It's like if you just rock up into a tribe and you just like have suddenly 10% of the tribe is another tribe. There's going to be a little bit of in the beginning, it's going to be a bit of ruckus, okay? And then eventually they get in, obviously, eventually in time, they get more integrated, they get older, the human being as such, and then they become essentially a harmless fucking grandfather in the like you got to remember, like the age of which you can actually make a difference is when you're young. Like when you get older, you just less like, if 10% of the UK was suddenly filled with Japanese grandfathers, we'd just all be like, cool, man. Like these little chilled Japanese grandfathers, not really moving about that much. But as soon as it's like 18 to 21-year-old men who actually have testosterone and want to do something and change shit, then it's a problem. So it's like, you got to remember, like there's young men just coming into England like constantly every fucking day, and people there's going to be a little bit of there's going to be a culture shock. So I get that, but it's not. My point is that the far right, to a degree, and the people who are rioting and saying that we need to get rid of Muslims specifically, is to a degree wrong, because the whole knife thing and the stabbing of those children wasn't a Muslim. It wasn't actually technically a migrant if you look at it in terms of he was born in Wales, he has a Welsh passport, etc., British passport. So like it was an internal problem with a person who was British. It was nothing to do with Muslims. I think he was Christian. Yeah, it was just all completely fabricated. And like, yes, there are extremist young Muslim individuals, Islamists, for instance, who are in the UK, but there are extremists in every single different type of religion. There are extremists. It's like going after all Catholics, saying they're all pedos. Like, because there was a few pedos who were in the Catholic Church. Like, no, obviously not. Like, not every Catholic is a fucking pedo because there was a few pedos in a church, like, who were Catholic. It's the same with the Muslim thing. We shouldn't go after all Muslims because there is an extremist faction of Muslims who do some crazy shit, and they've done it in the past. Like, obviously not. But, like, a lot of the far right are saying, we don't want anyone coming in, we don't want any Muslims, we don't want any mosques, all this kind of shit. It's just like, that's just too nuts. It's just too far. Like, I'm in Dubai right now, and there's Muslims everywhere, and they're very peaceful, nice human beings. Like, it's not to do with that. It's not to do with that. It can't be to do with that. But there is a problem with it, especially with like young, kind of, I don't even know what jihad means, but you see it in the news. But I would just say young Muslim Islamist types of people who are extremists. Yeah, that's a fucking problem. Like, obviously that's a problem. Like, but there's loads of extremists in different religions as well. But the whole thing about, like, these riots on the basis of that, it's a bit crazy because it wasn't even to do with that. But I do understand that there needs to be less immigration because it's just too many people coming in, man. Just too many people coming in. So, I think, was it 700,000 people in 1 year? It's just like ridiculous. Like, it's just like you got to remember, the population of England is only 53 million. Great Britain is 62. So they're going to England, a lot of them. So it's like crazy numbers. Let's have a look at the chat. I'm banging on, just ranting, but it's like it's been a long ass day for me. But Mondays are always hectic. It's hard to really coerce the thought process here. But I would say, like, the far right need to stop. The far left need to stop. It's just ridiculous. And I would say I lean more right, guys. You know this. I lean way more right. I'm not extremist right, but I lean more right. I believe in essentially a free market capitalist society. I believe in libertarianism. I believe that freedom comes first, government comes second. I lean more to the right. But there is some far right shit happening, and they're directly targeting, say, specific religions, which is just fucking ridiculous. And you see it, and like they'll say in the news and shit differently, but there has been that happening. Like they're obviously in the news, they're saying the far right are the problem, but I'm not saying the far right are the full problem, because the far left are definitely involved as well. But I'm saying like there are an area of the far right which are taking it too far. I think Tony Robinson's going a little bit too far. But the far left as well, they need to chill the fuck out. And they're a big problem as well, because they're the ones who brought up all these ideologies where people can't even have a say of their kids, and like fucking all this weird shit in schools, and then problems with like essentially socialist ideologies where it's like we need to share everything, and we shouldn't have libertarian views, and we shouldn't have people who make mistakes actually get penalized for those mistakes. Like there should be a minimum. Oh, if you don't steal more than £500, you don't go to jail. What? Are you fucking ridiculous? Like all of the quote of, you know, equality and virtual signaling. We need to be nice and let all the immigrants in. Immigration is fine. It's not the problem. It's like, all right, well, let's let in 700,000 people, and then you can take them into your home. Oh no, not my home. Like let's let 700,000 people in, but let's not house them in my house. Let's house them in really expensive fucking hotels. Okay, and everyone has to pay for it, right? Okay, thanks guys. That's a real nice, really good model, isn't it? Right, I'm looking at my my chat right now. But yeah, so it's all a bit mental. It's just like there's problems on both sides. I would say I lean more to the right and the whole thing, and I wouldn't stand on any side, but I would say like they both need to chill, think of the solutions, and stop pointing the finger saying you're the problem, you're the problem. No, that's not gonna fix anything. Just go to the middle and say, regardless of who's right and wrong, what's the solution? And then that will be the only way to fix it. But you know, I don't think it's gonna get like that anytime soon. Actually, on X the day after, at the vigil, apparently a Muslim came out of the mosque with a knife, trying to recreate it, thanks to why the riot started, allegedly. Yeah, but the problem is 80+% of illegal immigration to the UK are young Muslim men. Yeah, but look, here's my point. It's just because we are getting an inflow of these Muslim people into the UK, but a lot of the extremism coming from that side of the Muslim group is just because they're extremists, not because they're Muslim. They're just extremists. Like, because you can have extremists in all religions. It's just that Muslims are coming in with their ideas, and they're extremists in their own way. Okay? Because there's other examples of, for instance, when you go to, there was a big issue in Pakistan and India, the same issues, but it was just because there was a minority, and then they were seen as the Pakistani extremists or the Indian extremists. But it's just another. They're just extremists in their own. They're just extremists in their own religion. But it's not because of the religion they are extremists. And that's what my point is trying to make. Because you have extremists on all different types of religions and all different types of people. Like, look at the far left. Like, you know, we're not saying like what religion are they? No, there's just crazy, ridiculous, radicalized far left people who think that children should be allowed to dictate what gender they are when they're 8 years old. That's extremist, ridiculous fucking bullshit. And they're damaging children as well. Like, they're fucking essentially killing children as well by sterilizing all their hormones. But I don't think it's just because there are lots and lots of very, very nice Muslims, obviously, because it's a massive religion. I'm just saying that there is a problem with young Muslim men who are extremists. They just happen to be Muslim, and they're extremists, and they're coming into the country. They haven't got much to fucking do because there's no fucking jobs anyway. I don't know why they're even going to England. There's no jobs in England anyway. Like, why are you even going there? And they're rocking up to try and get a better fucking life than what they've got elsewhere. They don't get that life, and then great, they start becoming criminals, essentially. If all these immigrants came in and suddenly you had really good jobs and really nice fucking houses and cars and everything was perfect and new, they ain't no extremists. They're all just like, yep, cool, got a good life. It's because they're coming to England, they have a shit life. And then they just become mental. But it's like, I don't know, like, think about 2 points of the argument. I know, and this is controversial. 2 points of the argument, okay? Is it actually 100% because they're Muslim? Is that the problem? Is it Muslims are the problem? Like, are Muslims the issue? I don't agree with that. Or is it just extremists within that religion? But, you know, to be honest, I might be wrong. I just believe that it's probably not that. it's not the religion first, and it's just they're just extremist individuals with a essentially a different view on what they see, how they see the world, with less opportunity. But maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe it's literally just Muslims. I don't think that's the case. I'd argue the fact that it's not. But I'd say, imagine if it's just 80% of these migrants are coming in, and the problem is because they are Muslim. It's like, okay, is that what it is? I don't. It's a difficult one. I don't think it is. I think it's just because I think there's a lot of communities out there who there's a lot of Muslim communities out there actually extremely open, and they want to fix problems and not like that. Because you got to remember as well, when you're looking at the riots up in the Midlands, it was just white youths doing it. There wasn't one Muslim to be seen. Like, it was just white young youths smashing the shit out of things. And if you think about it as well, like, those young white men in England who were doing that were just doing it because they didn't have much opportunity. They were just essentially poor, had nothing else to do, kicking the fucking stones around the playground and looking for a bit of an adrenaline rush, right? If they're doing it, you know, like we've seen, and they're doing it all the fucking place, all these young 18-year-old youths around fucking Midlands smashing everything up, then you have an argument to say, well, you know, yes, there's obviously if 80% of migrants coming in are Muslim, that demographic between 18 and 21 are going to be going through the same shit these white fuckers are as well. So they're all going to be doing it. Like, they're doing it just because they got the same bullshit problems as these white brothers. It's just, we need the family unit back. We need to have some sort of discipline on, you know, building a coerced fucking community again. It's all gone haywire, leggies. Yeah. I agree not all prob. Also, not the most, but the challenge is jihad is religious fanatics who believe in conquering that all will become Muslims world, basically. Look, it's just one of those things, man, because, you know, if you read the Bible and you read the Quran, you read any religious text, you know, if people actually went by what it says in the Bible, like, really, there's a lot. We live in a different world. If people actually go by what it says in the Quran, we live in a different world. Like, there's so much fanatical extremist shit in these books, right? It's just crazy. Like, to say that the Quran's any more disgusting than the Bible is, I would say, probably an understatement. Or I'd say it's not true. Like, the Bible's fucking mental, the shit it says. Like, there's like the whole verse is about like sacrificing your son to God. Like, it's just ridiculous. So, like, it's, I don't know. I don't really inherently believe that the Muslim religion is bad, because that would just mean there's like billions of bad people in the world. I don't know if that's the truth. I think saying that the Muslim religion is bad is like saying the Catholic religion is bad because everyone's pedos in it. That's how I see it. Because, like, yeah, there's been a few fucking churchgoers, you know, in England who have ended up being pedos. Like, the amount of fucking stories you've heard about in churches in England of priests being paedophile. Like, how many times have you heard that? It doesn't mean that all Catholics are pedos or extremists or whatever it is. So I just don't think that. I do think there's definitely areas of the Muslim religion which is probably extreme, and probably the same with Catholic religion is extreme. I don't know. There was a really good point actually I read the other day in an article. It was saying, like, the whole thing in Palestine as well, with like the kids being killed there. You know, you're not seeing this huge outroar against the whole entire thing. It's like kind of the similar thing with Muslims. It's like, yes, there are going to be extremist Muslims in every sense in England, but taking it out on the whole entire religion is just, I don't think it's right. But I'm here from a completely objective standpoint where I don't even really know. I'm almost telling you this as a normal person what I see, because I don't get into all this shit. I'm not really in it. I don't really get it. I don't even know what jihad really means, to be honest. Like, like, what is that even? Like, it's just mental. So I'm not an expert. I'm just going by what I see, and it's probably not that. It's just probably like extremist groups within that religion who are just getting like, you know, painted with the same brush. It's like, oh, it's the religion, that's the reason. Because I don't know how that can be applicable when it comes to 1.3 billion people, you know. I think it's just because of maybe as well, you know, what happens is a lot of the time, like if someone thinks, here's actually quite a good point, like a philosophical point about it. If you are treated in a certain way by somebody, sometimes it can make you become the person that they think you are. It's like if you're like kind of told every day that you're this type of person and you're bad because of this thing, especially with like, it used to be that with like the black on white thing, you know, with say racism in America. Like if you keep telling someone like, you know, you're bad because you're black, or you're bad because, you know, you're a slave because you're black, or whatever it is, the people themselves who are getting, you know, actually pushed down become that thing. They actually believe that they're not worth. So in England, it's like if you're saying that it's the Muslim religion which makes you an extremist, that might actually make them into an extremist, even though they never thought about being an extremist in the first place, or start doing things that are a fight against what you're calling them. It's almost like you become, you know, I don't know. I don't know where I'm really going with it, but there's something there. It's just like if you keep telling people in England that you're bad because you're black, or you're bad because you're Muslim, it's just going to make them bad. And they are Muslim, so it's like you kind of just like fulfill your own prophecy there. But there is, like I said, from the beginning, there is an issue with young dudes who are Muslim, for sure, with different views, and they're pushing those views upon people. That's fine. Whether they're extremists because they're Muslim is a different story. They're just extremists within the Muslim religion, similar to another extremist faction from another religion. But because they are a minority and they're in the country and they're doing very different things, then it's going to be seen as an issue. Okay, I completely see that. And the only solution is just close off immigration. Just stop immigration, and let's look at the problem in the UK and be like, let's go to these communities and ask questions and talk and be like, so what is the problem? Are you really thinking this? Are you really thinking that? Just go and have a conversation. Like, communication is the best way to get through this shit. Just be like, yo, so why are we even having this fucking scrap right now? Like, why? Like, here's the mosque. Here's a white community. Do we even agree on anything? Like, we don't want to do this. We're not doing it to your church. We're not doing it to your mosque, whatever. Like, you just have to sit down and have a chat and get to the bottom of it, because pointing the finger all the time is not going to get anyone anywhere. You just need to have a bit more of just have a discussion and be like, look, here's the solutions. And just the first thing they should do is, for sure, is close off immigration. Because whether it's the fucking Muslims or this or that or the black people or whatever, no one knows. Like, let's just stop it. So then there's not more people coming in, so then you can reevaluate the issue. It's almost just like if you have if you're losing blood, you cut your arm and you're losing blood out of your arm. It's not like, shall we look at which area to stitch up? No, just stop the blood coming out. It's like, just stop the immigration for a bit, and then we can resurface it, and then we can stitch it later, and then we can come up with a little thing. And like, we're trying to stitch up a problem, we're trying to stitch a wound that hasn't even been closed. We're trying to come up with a solution to a problem that we haven't even tried to even stop happening yet. And that obviously, whether we know what the exact issue is, we know that there's too many people coming into England. It's just obvious. Like, anyway, fuck it, ranting on and on and on. Yeah, it's not really a projection. It's more of you know, this is what I drew this morning for. It's the highest probability is probably this, but the caveat to it is this. So if we don't manage to get above the high, so say we come to here and we see resistance, there might be a short for the lower high, and if we lose this is where your stop loss is, and then we go down. But I just think that this is highest probability right now. If we lose this level, stop loss is here. But I was telling people on my Twitter, I said there's a good risk to reward trade here for potentially just buying where we are in terms of the support. It's not a prediction though, it's just I think it's the highest probability. I just think that if we do come up like that, that'll be a nice trade. But if we do lose it, the stop loss is below this, there might be a lower high trade, sorry. All that jazz, you know. Communication is 1,000. It just needs communication, man. Just stop rioting, stop screaming, and just stop and talk and be like, look, what can we do here? But one thing I agree with, you know, in England is that there is too many different cultures coming into the country at too of a rapid pace. And the problem is there's not enough time for integration to happen, because obviously if you let in, say we let in 2 million Jewish people, for instance, nothing against Jews, but I'm saying like if you just let them in, a lot of the communities they would go to, they would become the minority. And the people who were the minority before are going to be like, well, what? Like we haven't even got a say anymore. Like you just, because there might be different cultural differences between Christians and Jews or Muslims and Jews, right? So like you have to remember that obviously things can change and the religions and areas can change, but at that pace, it's too fast for people to digest. It's like, like if you have a situation of you integrate a different species into an ecosystem. They've done it in like parks. They did it with wolves in fucking Yellowstone Park. Like if you introduce like something very rapidly into an ecosystem, it can change the whole outcomes of everything. So like you're getting to a point where there's too many people coming at too fast a rate, and unfortunately that's going to ruffle up some feathers. Like we know that. Like if the majority become the minority very rapidly, it's going to cause fucking problems. But yeah, I'll stop banging on about it. I'm not even an expert in it, and I won't even claim to know what the answer is. I just think there's no point trying to understand there's no point trying to point the finger and blame. It's just there is a problem. No one really knows. Let's just think about solutions and then have a chat. Have a fucking chat, leggies. And have some water as well. Some Vada. I'm on Bitcoin. I stream for hours on end and I never get what I want. I just want action on stream. We'll see what happens. It has come up quite nicely. Let me have a look on some lower TFs. Yeah, it was a nice move off it. If we do a fib on this, obviously you legends love a little. Sorry, Fibonacci retracement. Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to come into that again. And then if it holds high or low, then fine. But we'll keep an eye on it. I could bring up 2 charts, I suppose. Yeah, so Wavemaster, the indicator Wavemaster, we did a big update and we've got a new setting called reactive. Click on reactive and then you can choose these colors, but if you put it to ice settings, you'll get it. But I actually like doing it manually. But the reactive setting is an absolute monster. You've got to remember that harmony and reactive are slightly different. Harmony is called harmony because it harmonizes a whole load of other variants into one indicator. But it's a different thing. Okay, it's overbought, oversold, middle line, volume flow, etc. And yeah, this is really what you're going to be looking for is the mid zone. Are you going into oversold or overbought? And then is it the mid zone going down into overbought or oversold? That's the kind of way you want to look at it. But reactive is a slightly different thing. And it's a bit more clear in terms of finding those pivots because it takes into account volatility as well as the RSI. And it can show you, I'll give you an example. So you see harmony settings like here. Whoops. No, the fuck. Let me just give you an example how it works. So you go harmony. This indicator isn't really giving you much information along here because the price is going flat, right? It's going sideways, it's flat, and this is just in the middle as it should be. Flat, in the middle, flat. So it's articulating that you're in a sideways pot, but you don't. It never goes to overbought or oversold within this range, and that's because it's not overbought or oversold using RSI. But with Wavemaster, and then you put it on reactive, what it does is for you, it calculates obviously what the range band is, and then you can see actually it will tell you when it gets to the top and the bottom of that band, and then it's essentially telling you from within this price band whether it's overbought or oversold within that smaller price gamut, if you understand. So overall, I think it actually articulates more information. And then if you come outside of the band, you get a re-entry, you get a yellow tick. That's in there. And then obviously that played out nicely. Yellow tick in there, played out nicely. But I like it on eye settings just because a lot of this game is about just trying to make your strategy more efficient and making it visually appealing so it doesn't take a lot of time to, react or take the trades you want with the actual information in front of you. A lot of this game is about just essentially putting your information in front of you in a way that you can easily digest at a fast rate and efficiently, so then you can make the decisions quickly and better over a longer period of time. Because if you're just constantly looking at all these crazy things, but that's why I look at some people's charts and I go, the fuck is all that? And it's just like, look, I'm used to it. And I'm like, okay, you make money, you make money. Like, I'm not going to tell you what to fucking do. If you make money, you make money. But I look at some of people's charts, I'm like, whoa. Like, dude, this doesn't look like... I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, I've got this there. I understand that part. I like to make it the blue and white because it's a little bit less... it's just a little bit less subjective, you know? Because red and green is bad in trading. Because it's so... Red and green are those colors which have so much subjectivity built into it from a very early point. Like, green is good, red is bad. Like, that's historically what it is. Just in loads of other aspects of life. So, for instance, like, green to go, red to stop. You know, it's kind of... And it's like, even though, go in red... go isn't even good. What happens if it was good? What happens if it was green was go, but you were going to a furnace to burn? And then red is stop, you're not going to the furnace to burn. And it's like, okay, well, green is now that. But green and red is like, you get a green tick on your score, you get a red cross. It's like, just lots of subjective bias there, which doesn't make sense for having it on a price chart. Did I strip off some stuff? What do you mean, bro? Nah, I'm not stripping down for you, bro. That's OnlyFans content, man. Want to get me on that OnlyFans stuff? Then fine, brother. You won't get me on that OnlyFans shindigs, man? Want to get me on the OnlyFans shindigs? I'm just enjoying my 2-hour stream on a Monday to... it just... Bitcoin's not doing anything, though. Any chance you can look at seller, please? My dude, according to my TA, I really think a huge pump is coming. Right. According to your TA, there's a massive pumping coming. Kraken, USDT, is it? Firstly, this doesn't even look like the kind of thing you should be doing TA on, because it looks like it's got really low liquidity. Really big pumping coming. Basically, you're gambling that it's potentially going to come out of the darkness of Hades, which, it's more of an investment, this thing, man. Like, if you want to look at TA, it's, let's have a look at price GBT. It's just going to be continuing down. Like, it's not offering up much. Like, you can see how this takes 5,000 prior candles and says, what do you think is going to happen next? Continue the downtrend. It potentially, if you understand what this thing is and you can invest in it, then you might have an edge here, because it's very, very... It's at all-time lows. But the issue is that there's nothing here which is saying that it's trying to go up yet. Yes, you can gamble and buy and it could go up, but you're gambling because there's nothing to say that it will go up again. So, like, what you really want to wait for is levels needing to be claimed. It needs to go to here, hit that, back in. Oh, now you got a higher low. EMA ribbon comes up, back above. Okay, now break this level, hold support. Then you're looking for the buys there. That's what you want to see. But right now, it's a shot in the dark, mate. You go on the 1 minute and try and do all that right there. Like, oh, yeah, there. But then you're only going to get a 1 minute move. Oh, look, we broke this now, and then we're going to do this, and then we did this. 1 minute move. Quite like the way the price is dotted, because it's kind of like shows the indicators off really nicely. You can see all of the things which our indicator does. But yeah, there's technically speaking, nothing yet. But yeah, you could buy it and get lucky for sure because it is extremely oversold and it could just pop. But as traders, we're not really looking to gamble into stuff like this. We're waiting for the pop, the break of structure, and then the retest of that structure to confirm a higher risk to reward trade, then we can make money on it. We're not really here for the first move, we're really not. Like that. A lot of people, would argue that no, but you don't make as much money. Well, it's like, well, we don't lose as much money as well. You might not make the biggest gain from not buying the absolute bottom or the absolute top, but you also don't lose a lot more. So you need to wait, otherwise, longer term, you'll end up going on tilt and fucking it up. But yeah, it's I'm probably on the wrong ticker. Am I on the right ticker? Price GBT is the indicator I've developed with my team. So it's you get it in the MDX Algo suite. Let's have a look what Price GBT is saying here as well. It will load now. So Price GBT is pulling back. You can see there's a second one here which is pulling up, but right now Price GBT is saying that this level is going to break and you're going to see resistance along this level. So we'll see what happens. This is the scenario where it says, okay, if you're going to come here, you're going to floppy over. But the reason it's saying this is because it's taking those last 5,000 candles and it's saying that, okay, well, if you've got these lower highs coming along here, essentially all the way down, it's going to continue that. But if we do break above this level here and go like that, this will then flip and then it will use this one here, which is the second prediction. But we'll leave that on and we'll see who gets it. Let's see if my analysis plays out. Well, I'm not even predicting this. I'm just saying that I think that as where we're at right now, there's a good long at S for a move up and hold. But we'll keep it on there. It's MDX against Price GBT. Yeah. So if you have an MDX Algo account, then you've got Price GBT in your indicators section. So you go invite only. It says here. So you have Trendmaster, Wavemaster, which you put at the top. Those are the two kind of flagships. Auto charting tools is going to save you billions of hours of time because it just automatically charts everything for you. Support resistance, SR, supply and demand, Fibonacci numbers, trend lines, pivots, high lows, lower lows, you name it. You can even do candlestick recognition on it. So I actually might put the dojis on there. So you can go and find which chart patterns you like. Sorry, not chart patterns you like. Candle identifier. So you can go and find out which candles you like. Shooting star is probably a good one. I do like the shooting star. Hanging man's good as well. Let me find you. This is a tri-star. You can do a normal star. Evening star, of course. Engulfing. Let's have a look in engulfing. And let's have a look. It should do an identifier. Yeah, we'll do that. And it will tell you which candle. So it's done pretty well. And this is just going strictly, guys, obviously by candle pattern recognition. You don't want to, I would say with candlestick patterns, they can be very powerful. But I wouldn't go and do a huge position just on the basis of candles, okay? Because you got to remember that candles can be different on different charts and they can be different on different exchanges. But what they can offer to you is this. If you have a broader strategy which you're using and you're seeing that a lot of things are lining up and then you go on it and you see, okay, we've got a 3 black crows pattern, or you've got a hanging man, or you've got a bullish engulfing, a bearish engulfing, you've got a shooting star, a doji. That can be an indicator to you that, oh, okay, well, this is actually increasing the probability even more because we also have, I think, the price looks pretty dire from this bearish divergence, and we also have a shooting star candle. But yeah, it's done pretty well. It's caught most of these levels. This is an engulfing, so whether it's a bullish engulfing or a bearish engulfing, but you can see that bearish engulfings can happen a lot. It eventually broke down, but you have bullish engulfing there. Yeah, so you can do this. You could actually have auto charting tools on, and you could turn everything off and just have the candle identifiers on. I think you can make it candle specific as well. Yeah, I think we got a feature coming where you can make it so just the candle is that color. I'll talk to the team about that. I'll talk to the team about that. We'll keep an eye on price GBT though. That is interesting. And we'll get rid of the candles for now. But you can also do oh, shit me sideways. Hanging Man I've had good fun with actually. Let me just check if it's any good on this time frame right now. I'm not 100% sure, but I have in the past had some success. Yeah, there's not much happening. Yeah, they're good at timing tops. Yeah, you got some real nice top calls here. I'm just gonna have a look. So here, toppy caught that nicely as well. It basically looks like it's like a bearish hammer. Yeah, another one there. Caught that top nicely there as well. But again, you wanna if you're in a downtrend and you're getting hanging man patterns, then it can be quite powerful because you see here flat, sideways, 2 hanging man patterns, which look like essentially bullish hammers but inverted, like that. And then it's not a bullish hammer, it's a hanging man. And then there's a line there. Get rid of this line. So it can be quite good at timing some tops. Obviously, inherently, it's a bearish formation, so. But yeah, this is the kind of stuff you guys can mess around with yourselves, you know? Because obviously, candlestick patterns for me would be, yeah, bullish and bearish engulfings. Let's have a look at let's have a look at the shooting star. Let's have a look at stars for initial first one. Yeah. Pretty good, but again, it's for tops. There's a decent one there. Yeah, it's done pretty well, you know, these stars. Obviously, this has all been bearish price action, but you can see a lot of the time you do get, after a star, you do get a move to the downside on whatever relative. This is not, but here's a good one, a good example. That's another good example. So yeah, you guys can fiddle around with it. It's I'm trying to think in my head because I haven't looked at any backtested information to say like what are actually playing out the most on Bitcoin. But I would say that just from the top of my head, I would say that bullish and bearish engulfing, hanging man, potentially dojis and shooting stars are like pretty decent hit rate, just historically on most charts. But with crypto specific, you'll have to have a look at that. Yeah, 3 black crows. This is a bearish formation. And can be pretty powerful as well. Let's see what we get. It should be 3 candles though, so I don't know where it's going to plot it. Haven't had many, have we? Can't see one. Can't see one black. That's mad. Let's have a look. It's a bearish formation, this one. It just means that you've got 3 consecutive candles which are falling in price. Did we get one? Guys, let's get right out there and have a look. Obviously, daily's going to be. The thing is, I'm just going to find the formation. Yeah, we're going to look into that because I'm seeing a few examples of where they should be. It's because it's 3 candles, and this candle identifier is trying to identify 1 candle. So I'm going to have a look into that with the dev team. TriStar. Sounds like some sort of fucking... What's it called? Star Wars. Ask questions in the chat, legends. I'm going to do a little bit longer, and then we can whip it in the mixer. Let's have a look at the hammers. Hammers are quite a regular formation. Nice little bullish hammer there. Bullish hammers. So what you want to do is you want to have bullish hammers on, and then you want to have either hanging man, which is the opposite, or you want to have a shooting star. Engulfing no. Doji, yes, you could put... Oh, let me put both of them on. Let me just do this. So let's leave on our hammers. And let's also have evening star and hanging man. It's going to be in and out, in and out, in and out. Fucking candles, fucking ever, mate. Done pretty well, though. Every single time you've had at least a little bit of an increase, which can be good for stop loss management, etc. Aha, we now have a hanging man. Look at we have a big ass description about hanging man, bro. No, it disappeared. It's because the candle hasn't closed. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I like the way you're getting like these in and out signals here. Trade it on one candle. Anyway, yeah, I'm just kind of fiddling around with it on my stream as I go live right now. But yeah, you can come into auto charting tools and you can go down to this section here and you can essentially choose all of your candles you want. And if you just have a candlestick pattern that you want to identify and you don't want to have to, play the game of trying to wait for it and look for it, it just will show you on the screen essentially where that is. But yeah, I know some guys have some pretty complicated strats where they look for, a lot of different candlestick stuff. And they'll also look at order books. So they have order books on one screen. They'll look for candlestick patterns, and they'll see where the volume is within each candle. And they'll go on different order flow, order book chart systems. I don't necessarily use it, but anyone can, each to their own. That's the beauty of trading, each to their own. As long as you make money and it works, then do it. It's like there's a billion ways to skin a cat, as long as the cat gets skinned, eh? Even though that expression always makes me think, what? Like, why are people skinning cats? Is it Chinese fucking expression or something? There's a billion ways to skin a cat, Max. It's like, well, okay. Why a cat? You fucking maniac. There should be a million ways to... Actually, well, there isn't a million ways. I was a million ways to shear a sheep. But there isn't that many ways. You just have to either use a clipper or a scissor or a knife. Right, guys, a few more questions on the chart Arunientes. Let's have a look what the bot's doing. Yeah, the bot did sell there. So it's a pretty decent chance of continuation right now if we get it. We already had quite a lot of it. Million ways to chart BTC. That is true. There is probably a million ways to chart BTC. What I say is that within that million ways, you should check out my indicator suite. The MDX indicator. We have all the legacy ones as well. So all the old school ones we've had in the past. All the legacy indicators are here. Got the bot there as well. So this is what you can visualize the bot signals. But the main bulk of it is this lot here. So you got Trend Master, Wave Master, Auto Charting Tools, Capital Flow Index, Crypto Derivatives Suite, Crypto On-Chain Suite, Liquidations, Price GPT, Scalp Pro, and Liquidity Delta obviously is a beast. I don't need it twice. I don't know why I'm bringing it up, but you don't need it twice, sir. Just shows you where the pockets of liquidity are. So it's nice to see this actually, that there's a lot of support under here. So if it did come into this, you might get a chance at a long, big order block just below the SR level we're looking at. Bit of resistance in here as well, which is exactly where Bitcoin came into. If you just move this out of the way a second, you can see it came into that order pocket there. Order pocket, sire. But yeah, with these indicators, essentially you don't really need drawings anymore. I have a few yellow lines I've dotted around, but everything else can potentially be done with auto charting tools at this point. It's got all the levels mapped out. But yeah, you got the indicators you get with MDXalgo.com, but then you've got the trading bot, which is this system here, which buys and sells for you. You can check that out on mdxalgo.com/tradingbot. I did check the actual online mobile website. Make sure it's all working very nicely and smoothly, sire. Why this not? It's not light anymore. Hallelujah. 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 Right, just singing in front of my deep state community here. It's going to be good when we get some real action, you know, again on these charts. I figure if I'm gonna hold BTC for the long term, why not do it tax-free? But I don't know if I'm missing a catch about it. Yeah, just don't sell it. If you're going to hold on to BTC, hold on to it. And then when you sell it, you have to pay capital gains. But if you move to a jurisdiction that don't fuck you in your ass, then you'll be fine. Another higher low on the BTC DOM. Yeah, I've been saying it for a while, legends. I've been talking about dominance for a while. You know, you're not betting against dominance, bruv. It's just S-bend up, you know? Yeah, it's just not going down yet. Probably going to get better as well. Imagine if we start breaking above the fucking old school highs and stuff. Like up here. I don't think... Maybe it goes that far. But if it gets to there, like it's going to... Bitcoin's going to 150k. Altcoins are like that. Like imagine. Oh, it'd be so good. And then you move all your BTC back into alts. Yeah, it's going to get hectic, bro. It's going to get hecky-recky. It's going to be a fun time. I'll tell you that. Do you wait for the wave to get inside the cloud for confirmation, even if there's a yellow triangle? The yellow triangle is means that it has re-entered the cloud, okay? So there is another setting you can turn on which says style, and you can go into here and you can put on reactive warnings and these ones here. So you go style, you can turn all these on and off. I've whittled it down to just re-entry because you can have a dot which says when it leaves the band. So if you actually really zoom in on this, you can see that sometimes it's just when it re-enters. So this is very, very close, but you can see outside the band re-entry, outside the band re-entry. Again, outside the band. These ones mean something else. These ones just mean warnings. So if you get this, it's like you're getting close. You can have that red and green if you want. This is a really good sign here. Very nice move. And it's just in and out. Here's another good example. You can smooth the line, but I made it jagged because I really want to see if it's coming out or not of the band. And you can see a lot of the time, like the confluence you're getting of this, I'll show you it really nicely on this little bit of price action here, is that you're getting these yellows exactly here. And that's actually just about hidden divergence, but it hasn't caught it because it's just not high enough, but very close. And then again here, yellow, 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 both. So it's pretty nice. And you're going to get lots of bearish divergence signatures. Like here, for instance, is an incredible call. Bearish divergence there. That was the candle that gave you to it. And then you have another one. Got you on that one. I would say using reactive is one of the best ways to use the Wavemaster suite. And if you don't want to use, you know, if you want to have both, just turn on the indicator twice. So then you have, you know, this one on, and then you have, you know, the other one on. So you could even do the legacy one if you wanted to. But if you turn on Wavemaster again, what you can do, which I used to do on I used to do my sandwich charts. Remember? You remember my sandwich charts, leggies? So your inputs, leave it on harmony. Oh, just turn it to Harmony. Sorry, because I put it on my reset it. And then I like it on ice settings. And then jack it to the toppers. Make the sandwich charts. And then you have literally everything you would ever dream of in terms of, looking at momentum. So because you can see here that we do have the bands on this as well, but this is a different structure of bands. These are much more aggressive. So you can see it's actually come outside the band. It hasn't come outside the band there. But this, again, is another way you can do it, because you can see yellow dot, outside the bands, lots of warnings, move back up, move back up. So there's lots of other, there's, like I said, many ways to skin a cat, but you can do, and I hate, why am I even saying it? There's many ways to skin a cat. Just fuck off, China, with your propaganda. Yeah, so this is getting really overbought up here, but again, didn't come outside the band, so you're getting a bit more of an extra amount of information here. But actually, I really do like the oscillators. I used to use them, if I'm doing lower time frame stuff on the hourly or below, I'm using oscillators. But, there's lots of ways you can use these, and you could even put them on top of each other as well. So you could put Harmony on top of reactive. And it can get real nuts, legends, real nutty out here. But yeah, you can do visual intervals and stuff. But yeah, you can use both. This is still the normal setting is extremely good as well for catching those moves in terms of trying to articulate the point. But I'd say for now, I built my reactive a while ago, and it's just very simple and very easy to use. And I just enjoy, that type of setup at the minute. Yeah, the bot does work on 3 commas, I'm pretty sure, yeah. But you need to do a few steps. So if you want to run this on 3 commas, go to bot setup. You can set up on Bybit Bingx, but what you'll need is the full tutorial. So this full tutorial video will show you that. And then you need to essentially get a subscription with MDX Algo, because what you need is the TradingView alerts. So you need these signals to come into TradingView, because then what you'll do on 3 commerce is that you'll connect 3 commerce to the TradingView buy and sell signal. So then you can use that as the buy and sell alert API, which goes to 3 commerce. So all you need is an MDX Algo subscription. You need to hook up a 3 commerce account, and then you need to connect the TradingView buy and sell signal to 3 commerce. We don't offer it exclusively from our database at this point, for many, many reasons, which, you guys can probably understand in terms of like third-party accountability, not financial advice, just loads of shit. 3 commerce have all that sorted for you, so you can just do it through 3 commerce, or you can do it through Bybit or Bingx. They just deal with all the legal clarity as well. The Video Kingdom on Wavemaster, it's amazing, honestly. Yeah, it's a great indicator. Yeah, it's very, very simple, but it works very nicely, and it's showing it in a way that most people at any level would understand, because you see some indicators, you're like, bro, it's like looking at hieroglyphics the whole time. You're like, bro, and I get it, it can work for some, but Wavemaster, Harmony, or Reactive, we're going to change the names, I think. I'm probably going to change it to... Harmony is harmonizing, but I think it should be like something to do with waves, like different types of waves. Because it's called Wavemaster. It's a fucking wave. It's like wavy. Wavemaster. It should be something like... Think of 2 names, guys. Think of a name for Harmony and think of a name for Reactive. It should be like Surf and Wash. Surf and wash. Yeah, we're not doing that. Maybe it just could be like, it could be something like strength. And yeah, maybe. I even know hurry active. Surf and birth. Surf and turf. I'm just gonna whack on the turf settings. Guys, so just gonna whip up the indicator. We've got it on the turf settings right now. Hope you guys enjoy. I think it should be something like flow and flex. No. Flow could be the first one, because harmony is like a flowing one. And this one can be like, it could be flow and flip. Because it's like this is a flipping, it's like flipping out. Yeah. How's the deep state community doing, Leggies? Deep state, flow and blow. Come on, mate. Like, we know this is just definitely going to be put into the new code now. All right, legends. So I'm just whipping up Wavemaster. So we've got this new blow setting. And if you use it, what it does is it allows you to make more money. So then you can purchase substantial more blows. All right, I'm going to order some food, legends, because it's like 11 o'clock nearly. Eating so late at the moment. Give me that flow. Give me that blow. Up it in the know. When I get to the show, you better flow, 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 flow. You better flow and then blow. Someone who's just coming straight into this stream right now and they just heard, what you need to do is flow and then blow? They're going to be like, brother, what's going on out here? Watching from North Korea. Yeah, nice, bro. Or Northern Korea or North Korea. You want to blow, 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 blow. To be honest, we are coming up towards the top of the bands here, so... You wanna flow, low, 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 then you wanna blow, 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 flow, blow, oh. Give me that blow, then I'll show you the flow. Just ordering some food, legends, while I'm singing about the blowing and the flowing. Pretty redonkulante shindigs, isn't it? Do you wanna flow and then blow? Or do you wanna blow and then flow? Right, I'm ordering some tenderloin, of course. Give me that tenderloin, baby. And I'm gonna get some veggies tonight, you know. And then I think I'm flying to the UK on Wednesday. Legends. And then I've got football match. Let's have a look. What the back-tested results on Trendmaster. Let's have a look. Someone's asking for the... Let's get the back-tested data up and have a look. Put it middle center. Make it large so you guys can see it. We're on focus settings though. It'll probably still be profitable, but it's won't be as profitable as progressive settings for sure. Fuck. What am I doing? Back-tested information. Middle. Why am I doing? Yeah, middle right, bro. Middle center. Yeah, I'll have a look. It'll probably still be profitable in focus because that last really nice winner in terms of the last couple. And then I'll put it on progressive with take profit on as well, so we can have a look. So I don't know if you can see this. So yeah, this is on. Remember though, because this is on focus settings with no take profit signal. So signal exit is on auto. which means it automatically does it on the next buy, which if you're automating, it won't be as good. But yeah, it's pretty good. Last 10 trades, 14.23% up, win rate of 50%, average trade 1.42, profitable factor almost 2. So it's, yeah, it smashed it. It's only backtested data of 3 stars. But yeah, this means that if you just took the buy and sell signals, which, you know, are these signals, that's what you'd be up right now. Let's turn the signals on. It'll be the red and green things which pop up. Well, yeah, it's pretty good. Like at the end of the day, it's not losing. Like most people have lost money probably the last 10 trades. So like 90% of people are probably losing money. But these indicators are fully back tested, so we don't essentially fuck around with like, oh, we're not going to show you what happens. No. You can see what the indicators do. Let me put it on progressive. Let's have a look what the difference is. I think it will be less than focus at this point. Yeah, 7.46, which is still good. And if we turn on TPs and we turn this to take profit in terms of signal exit, because you guys can play around with this obviously in the settings yourself. I think that might increase it. Let's have a look what we get. No, it didn't. So it's yeah, it's still all profitable, but you can mess around with the backtested results for sure. So automatic's better. Focus is actually, let's have a look if you turn it on to our new setting called pivots. We have a new pivot play setting. I don't think it's going to be as good because it's a slightly different logic. Oh, okay, naughty. The pivot has been very good. Hey, hello, how are we? Let me put that onto focus again. It won't work as well on focus because it's not designed for that, but we'll see. Yeah. But that's interesting. With progressive on, with our new pivot system, we have this thing called pivot plays. You can see here, reversal warnings, take profits, reversal pivots. Slightly different logic, but it's done pretty good. It's still not as good as just the normal settings which you have on focus. But that's because we've been swinging like crazy in terms of up and down like that. But progressive will be better with TPs on range. But like I said, I like it on focus without pivots on because I like the EMA line which you get as well. Because you can trade off the basis of that as well. Holding above EMA line, below EMA line, holding above EMA line. You know, you can see that all the way through this downtrend. A really nice barometer of downtrend was the EMA line. It just couldn't sustain and hold above it. And multiple instances actually just didn't even get to it. That's what you're looking for. Confluence on Z chart Aruni Entes sire. But yeah, I'll leave the, I suppose, I'll get rid of that for now, but I'll leave it small just so I can, you know, make it in the future. Make it small just so it's there. And then I can bring it up bigger when we need to backtest shit. But yeah, it's been pretty good. But that's just get the MDX indicators, guys. Like, I swear to you, like, if you haven't got them, it's just not even funny right now. It's like, bro, like, these indicators will literally save you thousands of hours. They'll just show you profitable trades. Like, if you're losing money, just follow the indicators. It's profitable. It's, hit that like button, yeah. Like it. Like. And also, yeah, we only got 84 likes. Bit depressing. MDXalgo.com is the website for the indicators, just so you guys know. But I need to order some more food. I've got one thing coming. Let's have a look at what we got. Ooh. Ding chang fang chang chu. I love the broccoli from this place. It's just like, yeah, you know what's going on. You know what's crack-a-lackin', home dog. Oh yeah, benediction in your heart and soul. Such a good tune. Benediction in your heart, benediction in your heart and soul. That's such a good tune, bro. You just made me want to play it. I could blast it, but I haven't done any music on this whole video, and it's not monetized. So if I do that, I'll get striked. Because if you're monetizing your content, then you can play music, and then you don't get anything bad because it's like they just give you the money goes to the other person. But I think if it's non-monetized and you start blasting, they hit you with some hectic shit. Benediction in your heart, benediction in your heart and soul. Yeah, it's an absolute banging tune, bro. Sometimes music just, yeah, it's a sober one. I'm getting MDX algo, so should you. Thanks, mate. I have MDX algo, bro. I designed it. I built it with my team. I am MDX algo, dude. Like, don't want to burst your bubble or anything, mate, but that's me. Benediction in your heart. Benediction in your heart and soul. I can found my love has found a home. But I get your love. But I get your love and sound. In this place I know where I've been found. In your love. Benediction in your love. No, I just need to put it on. Such a good tune, dude. That tune, bro. I'm actually gonna go listen to it in a minute. Not gonna play it now. Benediction in my mind, benediction in my heart and soul. I don't want turning you around. I'm getting, yeah, I've got the MDX algo. Let's do a Q&A. Okay, yeah, let's do a Q&A. The algos are the way. Yes, they are, my friend. We've built these for a long time, the algos. We used to call them the algorithms, but we just decided to go away from that because it just sounds a bit complicated. They're just essentially trading view indicators. They do use AI and some of them, and machine learning in Price GPT. Me too. Got any promo codes? We don't do promo codes at the moment. We only do promo codes on special events. But you can get 10% off when you use someone's referral link. So I think, Stefan, you've got a referral link, bro. Use your referral link. He's in the chat right now. Stefan Horser Show. Stefan, I don't know if you can hear me, bro. I know that. Yeah, you need a ref link. But I'll get you a referral link posted somehow. Oh, it didn't work. It says here you go, and then it didn't work. Yeah, with a referral link, if you get the yearly, you'll have it for a year, and you'll get like, because obviously when you pay monthly, it's less, so you get 10% off the yearly, which will take it to like, I think it takes it down to about $50 a month, $50 a month, which is about £40 a month, which is fucking great offer in terms of, yeah, the actual suite itself. We are going to increase the price as well, guys, by the way, soon. Because we haven't. I've been quite true to what I've said from the beginning. You know, I've kept it low because I said I wanted to be the cheapest and best product in crypto and trading as a whole. But we haven't really increased the prices since COVID, and you know, costs have gone up. That's just something that is inevitable with inflation. So I think it is going to probably go to, you know, $100 a month product. And then, you know, we'll have some promo codes and stuff like that. But yeah, it's probably going to go to, it's around, with a promotional code at the moment, it's about 50, 60. But costs gone up, legends. Wages going up. Devs gone up. paying for website service, paying fucking subscription fees for the APIs, etc. We got some questions here. Do you think we are making a higher low currently? Yeah, I think we're trying. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah, we're trying to make a higher low. Yeah, that's what the chart is doing. We just got to hold up around here. It might do a fib. It might break. I've just got my stop below the S. We're just waiting to see what happens. This is, if you got rid of this, you can see that ultimately what we're looking at is R, potentially R in the future. You know, S. I could do them on like that, you know, make it so it looks a little bit weirder. I suppose that does make it in SHL. You want to do something like that, make it so they're away from each other. Maybe that articulates the point a little bit easier. Living in my love. I feel like my love has found a home. Your love, can I get your loving down? In this place, I know my love is found. Living in my love. Such a good tune, bro. Fuck. It's such a good tune, bro. I want to play it, but right now, not the right time. Because I've already got a big strike over the weekend, blasting some shit. I don't want to lose. Here you go. Yeah, I think, Stefan, there's no ref link in the thing. I don't know if you can post it. If you send it to me, I can post it because it's my stream. Let's have a look what we got here, legends. Let's have a look at it then. I could give you a 10% discount with a friend's referral link, and then that's all good. But let me find the fucking referral link first to make sure we can do it. Right, use this, I think. It should post because it's my stream. If you click on that, you should get a discounted price. This guy said, yo, legend, does MDX Algo has buy/sell liquidity indicator? So there's a lot of different variants you could do with that. You know, like a buy and sell side liquidity indicator. It's difficult to understand what you mean. Because like obviously we have the volume delta, and we have within the volume delta we have some different parameters in this. So we have delta candles. Obviously, you understand what they are. But session volume, for instance, is a slightly different thing. We can see what's happening in that session, and then also we do have the volume heat map's good, but I like this. It's called dominance bands, and dominance bands just tell you like what's happening at any given point. So you can see nothing in the order book really, but you can see when it's green under the price, it's usually rising. When it's red, it's usually falling. And you can see that actually a lot of the time in uptrends, you have no red above the price and lots of green below it. So nothing in the upside and it's green below it. So it just means that there's pressure to the upside. And here's a good example where it went up and it went red. Let me just zoom in on it so you can kind of see it a little bit better. So like, for instance, down here, red coming into it. Everything got super green, nothing above it. And then the green underneath it is... there's more buyers. Then look, the green stops. We fall down in price. A little bit of red here, back into green. Heavy green, firing the price up. A little bit of red. Ooh, red, big red down. So it's kind of yeah, dominance bands. It's nice for a lot of scalpy guys. Scalpy walpy. And then you have the heat map as well. So the volume heat map's slightly different, but it does a similar job in articulating to you where potentially there's lots of orders happening. It's a little bit less directional than dominance bands, but what you do know is that, for instance, in this area here, you can see that there's a lot more sellers pushing down than there are buyers. So like you got all this big beddy of sellers and there's only that much buyers there. So it's a lot smaller. So that's pushing the price down. Again, more people under, and you can actually jack up the, I think if you do this to 10, it makes it more visible, but I'm not 100% sure. Let me just quickly check. It should make it so you can see more of them. Yeah, okay, but it's too much now. It's too much now because what what you're not getting is that faded. So here's a good example: lots and lots above it, nothing below it. Price moving down. But like I said, not as directional, but it's showing you where there are high pockets of volume coming in. Like here, for instance, lots of pockets. But we always say keep it at 5. Well, you can do what you want, but I would say 5 is the best because you can see it a little bit clearer. Here's another good example as well. Selling pressure, continuation, lots of sellers. But yeah, less directional, but shows you where the volume's coming in. For me, dominance bands are a little bit more practical to use, I'd say. But on the higher time frames, I think this has done really well. To be like, stay in your fucking trades. Yeah, volume coming round. Yeah, it's just when there's lots of volume happening, you get like, look at all this fucking shit. Like, crazy stuff, guys. But yeah, dominance bands. Have a look at dominance bands on the higher time frames as well. Yeah, look, it's just like, it just helps you stay in. Nothing above it. Green, green, green. A little bit of red. Green, 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 green. All the way up. Red comes and takes over. Obviously, flat sideways market. Let's have a look. Yeah, nice. And then at the lows, massive green. Less red. Now it's kind of 50-50, but that makes sense because we are kind of in a 50-50 area. Yeah, nice. I got a bounce, guys. But I will answer Stefan's question. Steflar. I'm gonna be down. Yeah, so I'll answer your question specifically by the terminology you're using, which will be a different answer actually if you said trading. But on investing in the S&P, and I'm talking investing, that means that you're going to hold it for longer than a year, whatever you're buying, whenever you're buying it. The best way to invest in the S&P is by DCA. Like, that's historically seen. If you're trading and you're a successful trader, you're only ever going to really make 30% more than someone who's DCAing. And a lot of people lose money in trading, so the risk is there as well. So the best way to invest in the S&P is by essentially DCAing into it every single day, every week, every month, depending on whatever your strat is in terms of the length of it. Just DCA, because historically speaking, it will rise. It will at least match inflation, historically, but it goes into bubbles. So then you do get a value increase as well. But yeah, it's a DCA strat into the S&P 500 is the way to go. You'll have blips. There are certain days, if you were trading on that day, you could hammer home some more profits. But if you want to be completely straight line theory on it, just DCA. Yeah, lead fruit. Yeah, the volume delta is a beast. Like, the thing about our indicator suite, guys, is that there are like multiple indicators within the indicators. We've been doing this for so long. Like, if you go to crypto on chain, like, this gets insane. Like, because you've got, let me get rid of, we've got 2 masters on at the moment. So you've got on-chain metrics, right? But the thing is, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 indicators in one indicator. It's a bundle or a suite. And the ones I like, obviously retail, this is a really good indicator. It shows you when people are getting into stable coins or when they're getting out of stable coins, okay? But one of my favorites is, we recently developed this. Oh yeah, actually I want to check out whale bubbles. I'll look at the ETF stuff in a second, but whale bubbles are cool. So you can see when the whales are buying and selling. Again, it's not directional, and you can put this on your chart actually. We have a video about that, but you can see when big whales are buying or selling. And again, it's not directional, but you just know that when there's big money coming in or out, you're usually, preparing for a big move. Obviously, there's a lower time frame, but you can see this goes back all this time on the whale bubbles. Whale bubbles. I like that name. And then what we want to look at is the, we can look at long to short ratio as well, but I'm going to get off long to short ratio and I'm going to go on the other one as well because I want to look at the, yeah, this is really nice as well in terms of picking stuff. But let me show you this. This is the ETF data. And we're pulling this directly from I think it's I don't know if it's CoinGlass or it's Glass Node. I can't remember exactly which one it is. So you go into here and you go to ETF on balance data, and this is looking real cool. We've skimmed it to ETH now, and also Ethereum and Bitcoin are separate, I'm pretty sure. So you can see what the inflow and outflow of ETFs is. So essentially, instead of going on Twitter and listening to all that fucking bullshit, you can just generally see, is there actually an increase from ETFs? And you can see here, ETFs dropped off a lot when this move happened, okay? And hasn't recovered as drastically. Like ETFs, we've almost come up to about halfway. This is not happening. And you can see that with this big price movement to the upside, we never had a big rally in ETF on-ramps or inflows. And this is what I use as evidence to state that I don't think the ETF inflows and outflows is what is determining the open market price of Bitcoin per day. I would say that actually the derivatives market is what drives the predominant price discovery per day on Bitcoin, 90% of it, maybe more. But the ETF is there with $2 billion volume, but you're looking at open interest on 29 billion, and we're doing hundreds of billions of dollars volume a day on all exchanges. But it's a good example that, you know, the price of Bitcoin almost went back to its all-time high, give or take $1,000, and the amount of Bitcoin going into ETFs did not increase. So I think that's pretty good evidence right there to state, using some actual numbers, you know, like not just going by wishy-washy, you know, I think this, I think that. Like, whether even that analysis isn't 100% correct, it's still much closer to the reality of the situation than some of these fuckers on Twitter. There might be periods where the ETF inflows and outflows does represent some of the price of Bitcoin in terms of the discovery of it, if there's low liquidity and the primary and secondary market are really rampant. But I would say I don't think it's, I think it's mainly derivatives, boys and girls out there. We have to see if we get a higher low here, guys. That's what we're waiting for here on the price of the Bitcoins. Let me just quickly reload that to get Trendmaster back on. I'm going to see the Trendmaster indicator on this. Give me that Trendmaster, baby. I want to see the bands. I want to see where we're at. Yes, okay. We're coming into the bands now, actually. They're a bit faint, but if you guys get the indicator on your screen, you'll be able to see exactly where the bands are, and the bands are coming in very nicely at the wick lows. I've just carried on, haven't I? I did another hour. I answered 3 questions and another hour has gone past. I need to... Whoops. Yeah, I need to wrap it up. I like the live sessions, man. We get to ask you questions about MDX Algo and you exactly show us how to. Yeah, literally. I'm just... Essentially, you guys are, most of you probably are just in the community in terms of the... using the algorithms and the indicators and stuff. So I'm just kind of here to answer your questions, you know? It's enjoyable. I should do like a... I suppose that won't work, actually. Yeah, you should... Everyone watching, just get the indicators. I just, I don't even have to sell it to you. You can see it on the screen. They work. If you're looking to trade... take trading to the next level in terms of getting profitable, I built these indicators for myself over the last decade. So I basically built a suite of tools that help me trade, and then now you guys can buy them. And that means that when you purchase them, I can then make money from giving you tools that help you trade, and then I don't have to trade as much because I didn't get into trading to trade. I got into trading for freedom. I already have massive freedoms, but I'm saying that the journey of becoming an educator and a mentor and a product in trading is the natural progression of someone successful in trading. If you understand what I'm saying, because you just end up doing a decade in trading, making some money, and then you're like, okay, well, how can I monetize from my experience and help others do what I did if I'm not in the market as actively, even though I am quite active still, but not as active as the first 3 years for sure. That was like I had literally just nothing else to do except do this. Wasn't going out, wasn't drinking, wasn't seeing chicas, didn't have a girlfriend, just blasting charts in fucking England. My longest live stream ever. It was a big one. I actually fell asleep, and I think it was like I don't know 30 hours of just me passed out like this. Like I think a lot of guys in this community could probably remember it. It was a hectic one. Now you are on my 55-inch screen, MDX. I'm glad to be on the big screen, brother. You can leave me up there. I'm waving to the community. I'm waving to you, brother. Legend. We keep it in here. Let's have fun with MDX Algo when you go live. Much better to share it this way, organic, as we can watch the market. Yeah, for sure. Hard work does pay off. That's one thing. Hard work can sometimes not pay off if you don't have consistency. But if you have consistency and hard work, the universe will usually give you what you want. In most cases, you have to be really unlucky not to have hard work and consistency and then not eventually get where you want to be. And you can unlock a lot of it as well. You can unlock a lot of hard work because a lot of the time people think they're working hard, but actually they're not. They deep down, they really could do more. Like you can do so much more than you even tell yourself. Like I remember with sleep as well. Like oh no, I just moved that by mistake. I remember I thought to myself like I just need 8 hours, but once I did like 2 weeks without sleeping that much and traveling and not sleeping at all, and I just got through it, and I was like, fuck, I can go a lot further than I thought. Obviously, I wasn't feeling great. I was knackered the whole time, but I just realized like, I can actually go a long way without sleep. Like much further than I thought. I thought I'd just die after 2 weeks of not really sleeping. Obviously, 1 or 2 hours a night. But I remember doing like loads of movement, loads of traveling. I was like, bruv, I've been doing like fucking months of just like not sleeping that much, and I'm just still going. It's the same with your work ethic. You can push yourself further than you think. Like you really can. This was an epic stream. It was a big one. It was a big one. You got a mini one in those a month or 2 ago. Yes. Love the Moonboy chart. Yeah, it's not really a Moonboy chart. It's just I think this is the highest probability, scenario. Like I started it here. We got into the long. I showed you on Twitter. Started it here. We've had a move up. It's just this is the other scenario, which would be back to here, stop loss flip. So this is the stop loss area in here. You don't want to. If it goes through there, then you have a stop loss, so you don't lose the trade. But if it holds here, and it could still happen. But if you lose this, then we're looking at a quick flush down to around this area here. But it's a nice chart because it's very fluid and I'm just showing like potentially what could happen. But this is not a prediction. I've said many times it's not a prediction. It's just the highest probability scenario, which I think will play out. If we lose this level here, then we go lower, and then we can replace the trade like this, back in, potentially up. Will it get a high low here? Then we break above that, and then we could see it go like this. But I would say, if you go to the beginning of this stream, I've been talking about how I do think actually, Bitcoin will either go to here and then down to here, or it happens now. I do think we're going to get a higher low lower. Is it lower than you think? My friend, the lower than you think. I was watching that 30-hour stream. I think most people saw it. It was 30 hours. That was hectic as. It was a hectic one, my brother from another brother. Hectic on the place to be. You want to get to me, Right. I gotta go, legends. I gotta go, legends. It's Monday. I need to book a flight. No, I agree. If you don't actually sleep at all for a week, it can get really fucked up. But I'm saying you can get by with these tiny micro naps, just about. I start hallucinating after too many days of sleep deprivation. Looks like we're going down, bro. Yeah, nothing yet. We're still above SR. So we still got this level here we're above. But yeah, I said on stream that we could do Fibonacci down to the Stubifib. So should we see if it's a Stubifib at this point? Obviously, it's going to look a bit messy, but let's just do a Stubifib on this. Fracking hell, bro. Too slow for this right now. Stubies, go from the high to the low. Sorry, yeah. Yeah, look, we're at the 786 already. So, bang, off of 786, TP. So this would be potentially what you get to there, and then we come back in. If it wants to hold. But if it doesn't, we lose this level. Goodbye. Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friends. You are being the one. You have been the one for the dump. I don't know anything about Solana being deemed as a security. It's just going to have to come down to the investigation to the SEC and whether they find out that actually individuals who've co-founded or founded this project have used the money from selling tokens to the market to then re-advertise and promote people to then buy more of the tokens. Because if they have, which might be a case for saying that, well, you've created something which is worthless, you've shilled it through advertising, you've then sold that thing which was worthless to then pay for more advertising to get more people to buy it, and then, yeah, it could be a bit of a difficult one. This depends on how well they structured Solana from the beginning. But who knows with Solana? It's a bit of a dodgy one because I don't know much about the foundation, what they do. They tried to make a phone at some point, and they like fucking the outage happen all the time. I reckon there's a lot more booky shit going on behind the scenes than you think. Bitcoin is getting volatile now. All of the rich can play with BTC and sell it and buy it and do what they like, yes. Yeah, this is the stop loss under here, guys. Like, obviously, you got to remember that this would be a nuke. It probably won't take that long, but this is the idea of the situation. This is the line in the sand. Yeah, you get stopped out, and then it'll be back down into here. Quick move, stop loss. Obviously, like I said, you want to have good RR, trade on this. If we can't break the high, move stop to break, which means break even, then potentially short the lower high. That's what you're looking for. Watch it play out for a little bit longer, all right? But watch it play out for a little bit longer, leggies, because the leggies and the leggies and the places. I have my nose in my microphone. But yeah, if you guys get MDX Algo, I'll welcome you in the VIP. So this is the VIP group here. I think there's a few new guys already in here. We'll have you around. So when you join the chat, click on chat and just blast off. Got a lot of new people in here at the moment. Let's give that some love. Yeah, we might get the nuke down. This is one of our pro traders. In the group, in the group, in the group, in the group. Oh, look, he's got a nice little... Yeah, nice work. Jaybird's a legend in the community. He loves that. He loves that shit. Yeah. Will we gain the drop off? Maybe. We'll see. Nobody knows. We had a good reaction off SR for sure. It's just whether we can. In my VIP community, we got a really nice long here. A lot of people were saying we're going to go lower, and we had this nice ascending formation coming up into the high. It was a really nice snapback. So like it was V back up, and I was in my group calling for longs in here. We had a nice little wick up and down to scare everybody. Everyone thought, oh yeah, that's it now, we're going lower, and then boom. And I had a nice long from in here, which has still got some on actually. It wouldn't have been stopped out yet. Left 50% on at break. So it might be stopped actually now. Yeah, I had a nice little long. I could probably show you the position actually in the VIP group, just so I'm not, just so I can be completely transparent with you in the group. If you come up here, you should be able to see. So I had a nice short back down, but look at this. Here's the long itself. That move there is that move there, that candle right there. Boom. And then we had the long in, entry price of 57.2, and then I was saying this is what we're going to get. Snap back and continue. And that's exactly what we got. We got a snap back and continue. Yeah, we had some nice trades in that day. Some Trader Runientes. So this is the VIP group, guys. You can get that with the MDX Algo subscription as well. I want to leave the UK. Max, where is a good place to go? Portugal, Malta, Dubai, Singapore, Panama, Estonia, Czech Republic, Georgia, Thailand, Australia, anywhere but not England. All those places I mentioned are all probably good bets. What would you consider to be one of your biggest weaknesses? What would you consider to be one of your biggest weaknesses? It's a good question, man. I always try to think of positives in my life, you know? I always try and always think about the things that I can be better at or get better at, or things that are good so I can make them better. One of my biggest weaknesses, there's a few ones actually, but I don't know if it's a weakness because I always have this thing in my brain where I try and make everything negative into a positive. I actually have a whole system for this where if something bad happens to me, I try and always do something I never would have done if that bad thing didn't happen to me in the first place. So I had this kind of like trick I play on myself. So for instance, if you like, you know, lose a really bad trade, I'll do double the amount. But my biggest weakness is probably to do with I wish I could do tasks that I didn't like more, even though I do force myself to do them. I wish I just had a better way of just being able to do tasks I don't want to do more. Because if I could just not be not like if I could always feel like this thing I'm doing is worth it for whatever reason, which is a mindset thing, then that'd be amazing. But I do have the tendency, if I'm not hungry for something, to just not want to do it. I will force myself to do things I don't want to do. Obviously, we have to do that in business and trading and everything like that, in relationships and stuff like that. But if I'm not hungry for it, I do sometimes just go, yeah, it'll be all right. And like that's something that I want to get better at. And that's trainable though. That's trainable because you get better at it. Like when you're a teenager, you just don't do anything. But it's just, I think everyone has that anyway. I think this is actually not one of my biggest weaknesses. This is probably just like humanity's weakness. We just don't want to do things sometimes when they're difficult. Wish I could really get that down. And then I think also, and again, I don't think this is a weakness, but I do like to just like get literally pissed and drunk sometimes. I don't know if this is a weakness because it is fun, but sometimes I do like to just have these absolute mega blowouts where I just go out with my mates and just drink and party and just be an absolute animal. And I don't know, like it's just a part of me. I don't know why. I think it's because quite a lot of the time with you know, what I do in trading, for instance, it's quite like orientated around charts and it's quite orientated around numbers and it's quite orientated around stuff which doesn't have any like physical exertion into it. So I think that sometimes the going out, I almost find myself when I begin to feel really, really good for consistent months, I'm like, I'm due a big one. Because like I've got too much, I just need to like blast, you know, just like to go on a mad one. Almost like an adventurous mad one. And it has got me into some crazy situations before, like especially in Thailand, like getting lost in forests, having like I got hit by a car in Ibiza the other day, which really put some shit into perspective. Like just loads of stupid situations, man. But I just don't know if it's a weakness or a strength. It's just hilarious. Yeah, Ibiza's good, man. Ibiza's a good place. It can be. I was in a situation when I was in Ibiza where I just came out of a breakup, so there was lots of women drinking and partying, and it was a bit like I was enjoying myself, but it felt a bit soulless, and I just felt like a bit like, oh god, you know, I do like the party and I do like drinking and doing that kind of stuff, but if you do it like massively for like 5 days, you got no dopamine, you're just like, shit, man, like it's a bit soulless in a sense, especially coming out of like a decent relationship. But look, I'm not the kind of guy to fucking get upset about a good time. Like, it was still fun, but it was like Ibiza can be quite soulless at points. But bruv, I just love getting a blast on sometimes. It's just fun with like friends, letting loose basically is a good one. I've been streaming for 3 hours, bruv. I'm not stopping. I need to stop. And then yeah, I do love drinking and falling asleep for sure. Not a weakness, my brother. That's called living and enjoying life, especially after you've earned it with your trading. What else is there for to enjoy yourself? Yeah. Well, the drinking and the smoking, the partying part is obviously fun, but you don't want to do it too much because it obviously has a massive detrimental to your mental health, your physical health. Like, I'll just be, if I was doing that every single weekend or every 3 days, I'd be like morbidly depressed. When I go, I go. Yeah, and like yeah, I'm going back to England for a football match on the weekend, and then I'm going Bali soon. So I'm gonna have a new time in Bali. I'm actually going out there to meet a chick, to be honest. So, we've been talking for a couple. We've actually known each other for years, but we never really did anything. So I just went, fuck it, And she actually invited me out. She was like, "So open for a relationship." I was like, fuck it. So I'm gonna go Bali to see how that goes. But I'm one of those guys who I take a long time to take a long time actually to build relationships with people. Like not in terms of like acquaintances and like friendships and small talk. I'm saying like good long friendships or relationships with women. I'm actually not. I don't like fall in love instantly. I don't like I'm not like suddenly in love with someone in 10 minutes. Never happens with me. It takes a long time. I have to like get to know them, trust them, lots of different things. I just don't have that ability. Even with friends as well. I just don't like even meeting new people really sometimes. I literally just don't like new people. Obviously I have to meet new people to make new friends, but like I don't really like meeting new people. I can't be asked. It's like, yeah, whatever. Like, And if someone does become my friend, it's kind of rare. A new friend anyway. I don't go out making lots of new friends the whole time. Like I have lots of acquaintances and party people and like stuff like that. But to be like an actual new friend, it takes ages for me. I'm not just quick to that, and especially in relationships as well. Like it can actually take me pretty much years to actually like really begin to love someone, and as a woman, like I I don't remember any chick who I've been like I'm in love with you after a week. Like it's, or maybe there is a certain type of love, but then it just gets more entrenched as time goes on. But yeah, that's just me. What happened to your friend who look? I've made Jack. Pete's still one of my best friends. Yeah, Pete's. Me and Pete speak pretty much every single day. We play computer games together on the weekends. We dick around. We talk about stupid shit. He's in. I saw him in Bristol the other day. Yeah, it's just unfortunately life. When you're living in two different countries and people have girlfriends and kids potentially these days, it's just getting to that point where you just can't spend as much time with friends, which is annoying. It would be sick if that wasn't the case. I'm not saying that it has to be the case because you can obviously go out and have fun with your friends, but sometimes what happens is when you're in a relationship, because you do love them, you're gonna get caught up. I think that my door just got knocked. One sec. My food has arrived, legends. The food is here. So I might have to love you and leave you. A little bit of a chilled stream at the end there. Got the deep state. How many of you guys got? How many of you guys have got MDX algo? Tell me. Most of you guys have probably got an account already, MDX Algo. If you want to join the VIP group, come to the Discord, guys. Here we go, the Stuba Fibs. Of course, Stu's banging on about the Stuba Fibs. Trader StuTube, Stuba Tribs, you know. Anyway, yeah, a bit of a long stream. I'll always do this on Monday. I'll always do a big stream on Monday. Get everything out of the way. And in terms of, I like that, but then I met my wife, and I knew from day one we were going to be married. Yeah. No, I do believe in lust at first sight. And I've had definitely moments like that as well, where I've seen them and been like, shit, I see a future with you, this could work. But I didn't know that that person that I saw would have been someone that at the time that I would have married, because I just didn't know who they were. It took me like a year or two to understand really who they were. And then I'd be like, yeah, okay, I could see that working out. But no, I understand at lust at first sight, when you see them and you're like, wow, I could see a future with you. But I don't know really for me if it could really be that. I think maybe there could have been that thought process, but it's not like an actual certainty. It's like maybe, you know. Your Kareem is at the door. It is, my Kareem is at the door. It's actually Deliveroo, but yeah, it's kind of like I don't know. I just find I think that it's true. You can have lust at first sight and love someone in that degree, but there are different levels to love, and I think for me, it takes a lot longer to get into those levels, and even with just normal relationships as well. So like just with people, I'm not the kind of dude that's going to be your best friend overnight. It's just take a little bit more time. Anyway, I got bounced, guys. I got to eat. Fucking starving. Hit the like button on the way out. Get an MDX Algo subscription. Check out the trading bot in the pinned message. And if you can do a favor for a legend, if you are a legend and you like what I do, can you go and like and comment on this tweet? If you can like that tweet I just posted, comment on it. I'm doing a giveaway as well, so you can actually win an MDX Algo membership. So if you just like it, retweet it, comment on it, something cool, you can win an MDX Algo subscription. I'll retweet it just so you can see it. But if you enjoy the content, go to that tweet, give it some love. We'll see what happens on the tweet anyway. And yeah, I'll see you on the flippies, leggies. You're all legendes. I'll see you later, Aruni Ente. Cheers up.